What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to Rockin Robbie Live here, rockin' live on a Sunday night with you. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. Welcome, PCP Army. Welcome, everybody. So happy you could be here. This is the show where we gather, we talk about movies, comics, pop culture, a whole lot more here on Rockin Robbie Live. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight, including talking about our favorite comic books of last week, looking ahead at what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. We'll be talking about a movie tonight, starting a John Carpenter journey throughout the next several months. So I'm excited for that. Then we got Marvel in the 80s. We also have top 5 films of 2004 and the debut of an all-new segment here on Rockin' Robbie, and I could not be more excited. How is everybody doing? Once you pop in the chat, let us know that you're here. Throw out a station or even a pop, pop, boom. You never know what's going to happen here. I will say, even though we have a grand plan and a ultimate design for tonight's show, this show is still driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to talk about? Light it up. I will say this. You can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me at the Rockin Robbie over on Twitter, and you can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with a super chat tonight, which will trigger something. Who knows? Anyway, we do appreciate all the support, just being here, liking, sharing, subscribing, participating in the chat. All of that is part. Let's see who is in the house tonight. We got GT Key Comics, first one in the room. Then we got the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What? Station Nova 69 dude is in the house. We got James, we got Larry, Joram, Comic Book Therapy. What is up? Ginny's Comic Life says Rockin' Robbie Robinson. It's not my last name, but close enough. Close enough. Todd is in the house. What is up? We got my man, Jim Mint. Jim Mint got to pack up everything, move that shit up to Indiana. Good luck with that, bruh. I wish you the best. I'm with you there in spirit. Comics by the Bay is in the house. What is up? Comic Book G-Spot. How you doing, bruh? Station. Yeah, new segment tonight. I want to find that reprint of Detective Comics 27 out on August 23rd. Yeah, it's going to be cool that the DC's getting back into the facsimile game. I think that's a cool idea, Kilted Corgi. All right, what's coming up on the channel? No shows tomorrow night for Memorial Day, but have no fear, because Thursday night, we're doing the monthly comic book stream. What are the best comics of May 2022? Join us Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Got a great panel there to be talking about our favorite comic books of May. It's me, it's Greg from Bearded Comic Bro, it's Nick from Comic Culture, and it's Manny from Tomorrow Cinema. And then Saturday night on Dylan's Horror Show, we're doing Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Very excited. It's been years since I've seen that one. So how is everybody doing? We hope you're having a good night. What's up, Big Herm? Man, I thought y'all were going to go super long tonight. I'll be honest with you. Y'all had a great show, by the way. We are the official after party for the Blame Fable Tonight Show on Instagram. They had Chasing Nostalgia on that motherfucker, and they had a great show. They really dived in deep in some of this week's news. They were talking about the Thor trailer, the She-Hulk repaint, if you will. They were talking about the Star Wars drops, and they had a great show. Then they were like, fuck, we got to get to the movie review. And I was tempted to try to fit in Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers so I could do one tonight, but alas, I did not carve out the time for that because I had to watch Blame Fable tonight. So y'all had a great show. I did leave when y'all started the movie review because I haven't watched Chip and Dale yet, but I have heard that it's rather ridiculously funny. So that's interesting. But good job tonight, Big Herm. You're worth it. Station. Is Kate's going to do at least something of impact with the Hulk-Thor crossover? I've actually been liking the Hulk-Thor crossover overall. The impactful stuff as they have revealed what happened in El Paso that sent Bruce Banner and Hulk on this journey. So that's interesting. So I don't know. Is anything going to come out of it more so than just A fight? Probably not. As we will find out tonight in Marvel in the 80s, sometimes all you need is just a fight. Sometimes you just want to see Hulk versus Thor. And so far, Donnie is smashing them action figures together, and I think in a rather fun and extravagant type of way. Hardcore Station. What's up, Two Gun? In the house. Pew pew. Big Herm says, bro, I really think you'll enjoy Chippendale. It sounds like I might. I might have to get to it. Got an extra day, an extra evening this week because we're not doing the show at the EXP tomorrow, and we're not doing PCP movie night, so I get an extra evening. So I've been thinking about what to do, and I was like, maybe I should work some more on the comic collection. There's still some final touches to be made. Maybe that. Clean up a little bit in the apartment. I've done a little bit today, but maybe I could do more tomorrow night. I could get a head start on some movies or on some bits. You never know. Anybody else seen Chippendales? Rescue Ranger, Chippendales, when there's danger. Oh no, it never fails once they're involved. Chippendales. I love that shit. I got the first volume. Oh, it's at the store because I play it sometimes. Oh no, it's over there. There it is. Oh, maybe I need to drag that out for show and tell. Show and tell. How's everybody doing? What do you want to chat about? They put a reskin on the She-Hulk trailer. I think it looks better. So that's cool. I approve. Thor trailer. We talked so much about the Thor trailer on Wednesday night's random live stream with the PCP Army Bad Batch crew. That was a great show. I had a lot of fun doing that. We talked a lot about Thor trailer, so I didn't even mention it in the weekly pop culture wrap-up. But I'm cool with it. And, of course, me and Rex did the whole bit where we talked a little bit about Gore and his look, and I care about the essence of the character more so than the look. That's me. Fable, what is up? Great show tonight, my man. I love the extended reaction and talk and discussion about news. I think that's a really good bit. What's twice now, Rockin Robbie? What are you talking about, Joram? What's twice what? What's twice what? What's twice what? What else? What were we talking about? There's the Star Wars news. I thought the Andor trailer looked fine. I thought that the trailer for I thought that the trailer for 3,000 Years of Longing, the new George Miller film with Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba, and Idris Elba is like a genie that Tilda releases, and it becomes this whole like question about what she should wish for or some shit. That looks really good. I was very surprised by that. Twang, oh yeah, it's slipping out tonight. Y'all better watch out. You better watch out. Y'all better pray a super chat doesn't come through. That being said, Rockin Robbie Tour's coming up. The next stop is Heroes Con. I will be there June 24th and 25th. Tonight is the last live show we will be doing. That will guarantee the money before the Heroes Con portion of Rockin Robbie 2022 tour. And if you feel so inclined to donate to the cause, we would appreciate it with Super Chat. And if you don't feel inclined, we're not going to hold it against you. And everybody, Bueller probably needs more help than we do right now because Bueller is broke down, stranded outside of Topeka, Kansas for a couple days. He's got to get the bus fixed, had a diesel fuel leak. So he's just fucking dollar bills just falling out of the Bueller bus. So he could probably use a hand tonight. So absolutely. Everybody, Bueller's going to be fine, obviously, but station to Bueller, we hope you get back on the road and running very soon. And we hope Jim Mint has a good journey to his new home. In Indiana, I believe, right? Indiana? Something like that. Da-da-da-dun-da-dun-dun-dun-dun. Brother Joe says, I'm Dale and I don't eat whale. Well, obviously, I don't understand that. So obviously, Brother Joe has watched the damn movie, so that's cool. Good times, good times. All right, it's kind of time to kick off the show officially with the first five. We've inherited this from the Comics with Bueller channel. We all miss and loved the Coffee and Comic show with him and Bullseye Bob. We have inherited the first five. I like to put my own spin on it, so let's just do it with the first five. First five. All right, so we're still going through the Blu-ray collection. We're going to hit the very end of the R's right quick and then start the S's. That's going to be a little bit of a journey in and of itself. It always seems like more words start with S or something, especially when it comes with movies, because I've always had a heavy S and B section in my movie collections. Anyway, Rocky. So I recently, not too long ago, somebody sent this to me. They bought it off my wish list, sent it anonymously. Didn't even know you could do that, but I don't know who actually sent this to me, but it's the Rocky. It's all these 6 Rocky films. It's not any of the Creed films, which I still haven't seen. We're going to rectify that. Maybe that's what I should do tomorrow night. Then we got Salem's Lot. I love this book. I'm not necessarily the hugest fan of this movie. Others are, including Dylan from Dylan's Horror Show. We had a great show last night talking about New York Ripper with Verno and Steph. Man, what a great show. Dylan's Horror Show is like one of my favorite things to do. But Salem's Lot, we did this on Horror Fest, I think last year before. So check out that for more of our full-on thoughts. Samurai Champloo. I don't really talk up a lot of anime or anything like that because I just don't have a lot of experience with it, but certain things I do love, and one of the things I absolutely love is Samurai Champloo. That may be one of my favorite anime series. Then we got Sandlot, the best film about baseball ever. Seriously. Beating out Bull Durham, but come on, y'all. The Sandlot. That's like my childhood, but in the 80s and 90s. Then we got the Saw movie collection. This is the one that has the 7 Saw films. Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, Saw the final chapter. So I appreciate the Saw films. We may be talking about a Saw film tonight when we do our top 5s 2005. You never know. And that's been your first 5. First 5. Speaking of baseball, Yankees lost today, right? No, they lost yesterday. They won today. Yankees looking good. Yeah, I'm just going to say Yankees looking good. I'm feeling good about it. I'm happy. Heat are playing the Celtics. That game may be on right now. Whenever it starts, it's either on now or it's about to start. Heat, Celtics, Game 7. I need to be kept abreast of what's going on because me and Mike got a Mexican pizza riding on that shit too, actually. 2 Mexican pizzas riding on this game. James says, respectfully disagree. Sandlot is great, but Major League is more greater. Fair enough. I personally put Major League further down on the list than most people do, but I do love Major League. When me and John, Hammer Time Holshoe, did a top 5 baseball movies list in the earliest days of PCP on YouTube, we ranked that on the top 5. Yankees lost, but still in first. Okay, they did lose today. Anyway, they still looking good. They still looking really good. Larry says Major League was good. I think it's a tie. I'll go. I always go Sandlot and Bull Durham. Like Bull Durham is one I really fucking love. Major League's a little bit further down, though, because I put, I don't know, man, like 8 Men Out, something I really, really like. I really like that movie. I like The Natural. I'm not thinking about something. Little Big League, just kidding. I'm not, there's one that's escaping me right now that I really like. Trying to look over at the Blu-rays. Now, the best film ever about baseball is a documentary series by Ken Burns called Baseball. Just so everybody knows. Field of Dreams is okay. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. What's y'all's favorite baseball movie? Moneyball, I've never seen still, Dominic. Still haven't seen Moneyball. I do my top 5 baseball films all the damn time, and it's always like Sandlot, Bull Durham. I can't ever remember what's in number 3. Usually Major League's in there and 8 Men Out. But what's usually number 3? Sometimes Natural sneaks in. Maybe The Natural is that number 3. Fried green tomatoes. Haven't seen that one in a long time. Little Giants. How about Angels in the Outfield? Rookie of the Year. I love Rookie of the Year. That was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I loved that movie. Loved it so much. Well, I hope everybody's been having a good Memorial Day weekend, if that's what you're into, if that's what you do. League of Their Own. That's the one. Thank you. That's the one that always sneaks in. Yes, League of Their Own. That usually comes at 3 or 4. I adore 8 Men Out, though. There's something I love about it because of the classic sense of baseball and the baseball reporting. I think it's pretty dope, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. What are y'all's favorite baseball films? Oh, God. It's coming out tonight, everybody. Rockin Robbie Live's going down and dirty in Alabama. Big Herm says, I love Field of Dreams, the Rookie of the Year. League of Their Own for Dominique. Field of Dreams for Joram. Nova 69's favorite baseball film is Fable. And A Hand. Just kidding. I love how everybody says, what's up to each other in the chat here on Rockin Robbie Live. Big Herm says, League of Their Own was so great. Yes. Two Gun says, 42. I still haven't seen 42. I really need to. And you're right, Joram. There's no crying in baseball. Atomic Buzzard with Bad News Bears. That's a fun one. Both versions have their fun aspects, but obviously the classic original with Walter Matthau. What do you have to do to become a debutante? Big Herm says 42 was great, Fable. Pedro, sorry. Todd says Moneyball. I need to get into that one. And don't forget about fried green tomatoes. Having too much fun already. Let's calm this down, okay? Let's tone it down a little bit. We don't want to blow the load. Moni says, The Babe. The John Goodman. I haven't thought about that movie in forever. I liked that one growing up. I always liked Bull Durham. It always felt more adult to me when I was a kid, and I didn't quite get everything, but the more I grew up, the more I appreciated that one. Larry says Moneyball was pretty good and interesting. But growing up, The Babe was something I liked. I also liked Cobb. He's a very, let's just say, complicated figure, okay? So that was an interesting performance. That movie would be way different nowadays. But what's that? CGC new label change sucks ass. Shows they only care about money. I need to dive more into that. Rex had suggested that this week we talk about the CGC changes that they've made based on prominent collectors' ideas and impressions. So this week I plan on doing a little bit more research into that. We're going to do a live show Friday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time. That's going to be the new thing. We're going to now do that Friday show live. So we want you to join. Maybe some of you are on a lunch break or something like that. You got 30 minutes to come and chat about a topic, or you can check it out after the fact. And it's always running the contest in league with Dynamic Forces and the EXP every week. 2 chances to win. So, hell yeah. Keith's in the house. What's up, my man? Sandlot, original Bad News Bears, For Love of the Game, Bull Durham, Bang the Drum Slowly. I don't know if I've ever really heard of that too much. That last one. Those other ones, For Love of the Game is a weird one because I don't typically try to like Kevin Costner films. It's okay. It's a Sam Raimi film, which is interesting. So, yeah, I need to revisit that one. But Bull Durham, the original Bad News Bears, Sandlot. Sandlot to me captures the essence of what baseball is to like a child loving the game. To like it speaks on the true love of the game, right? And then Bull Durham I love because I think it speaks on the true level of professional baseball. Because I have heard that Ron Shelton crafted one of the most realistic portrayals of life in sports. And we always, we fixate on the major leagues and shit, but there are dudes that play in the minors for a long time, and their careers never go above that. And it's a really interesting look at that, which is most people in pro or semi-pro baseball, that is their journey, So it's an interesting kind of thing to see. Perry is in the house. Station Perry, how you doing, buddy? I'm going to be sending out Action Fest lists to PCP Movie Night panelists soon, Perry. So be expecting an Action Fest list. See if anything sparks your fancy. Brian says, I read a book called The Painted House by John Grisham. It was half about baseball, but really good. Never read a single John Grisham book, but that sounds cool. The comedy that was Michael Jordan's baseball career was fascinating. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Bang the Drum Slowly is a very early Robert De Niro movie. Okay. Hell yeah. Dominique says, Ben from Canada did a great video about Moneyball. All right. Hell yeah, Perry. We got a good lineup this year. There's a few that I think everybody's going to try to get on. There's a few that I think everybody's going to try to get on. But there's some good ones. Not a non-banger on the list. I don't know, man. I always say that. Then I always get surprised when, like, all the movies that me and Brooks and Jelani and our homies talk about, and then like shit like Funhouse and Cobra just they don't get, they don't feel, they don't vibe with, and I'm just like, y'all are out of your fucking mind. All these movies, like, out of all the movies we've ever watched, the one that Brooks hates the most is like Iron Eagle. Like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? It's like, what the fuck is that? Manny says, you know the one that I want to be on for sure. I don't know off the top of my head, but when we send out the list, I'll make sure. And if I get more than 5 people wanting to be on a show, obviously Jelani and Brooks always got their spots because we're the 3 core. They're there every fucking week. So I always give them the spot. So we usually have 3 more spots at max. And usually, sometimes it's hard to fill a show. You have to ask somebody, like, hey, would you be on the show so that we can have at least 4 people here or something like that? But I think Action Fest is going to be, people are going to be fighting. We'll see. I'm going to make y'all do like rock, paper, scissors tournament for it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Scarpad's in the house. Station, motherfuckers, he says. He said MFers, though. So one of you Blue Ranchers didn't have to approve it. So we appreciate that, Scarpad, helping save the workload for the mods out there. I'm down to box to get on. I don't understand. Oh, box. Perry gonna fight somebody. He's gonna make his way up to fucking Alabama and start fighting somebody. Hell yeah. What's up, Kenneth? How you doing? Hell yeah. All right. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about comic books from last week. In fact, out of everything that came out last week, what was your favorite that you picked up? More importantly, what was your favorite that you read? What we like to call around here as the pick of the week. What was it? What was your pick of the week? Because my pick of the week was Swamp Thing, number 13, Ron V, Mike Perkins, Mike Spicer, Aditya Bidikar. Come on. This book just keeps getting better and better. I noticed that somebody in the comments had asked, hey, is it tied into DC? Because I hate DC, but I'll give it a shot. Somebody then, before I got the chance to respond, somebody did respond and say, oh, no, it is firmly set in DC. Swamp Thing's always been kind of established in DC mythology and lore. And then the person was like, where were you 19 hours ago? I went and bought it and read it, and I hated it. So it's not, I guess, going to be for everybody, but it is for me. I love this book. I think it is textured in both art and it is textured in story. There are many levels for me that work so well in this book. Part of that is a connection to DC lore, DC continuity, and of course to the established history of the character or the idea and essence of Swamp Thing. Obviously, Ron B has introduced us to a new character who is the new Swamp Thing post Alec Holland. We are talking about this dude named Levi. It's a compelling story. His family's journey, his relationship with his family is tied into his relationship with the environment, including plants and industry. And we're getting the rise of a new parliament, the Parliament of Gears, which represents industry and the factory. And then we got a new avatar for radiation popping in. So lots of interesting ideas, lots of playing with the lore, but it also works as just a really great independent Vertigo-esque subtext-filled story about family. And to me, that's absolutely amazing. Family and personal growth. No pun intended, but let's intend that pun. The artwork by Mike Perkins with coloring by Mike Spicer is beautiful. Aditya Bidikar is the best letterer in the business. And even on a book like this where he is using generics, the wrong word, but he's using a more traditional, modern, contemporary style. He is still able to pull in his different tricks and his different methods of making the page flow and letting the lettering become an integral part of the artwork and the experience of the pace of the book. I love this book. I think the art's great. I love the addition of utilizing Jack Hawksmoor as a character. And at the end here, y'all, we get another little tie into DC continuity. Hal Jordan shows up. So now we're going to get Ron V writing Hal Jordan. Y'all know I'm 100% on board with that. If you read it, what did you think of Swamp Thing 13? And outside of that, what was your favorite comic book? What was your pick of the week? So let's take a look. Manny says, I'm down for Perry to knock me out to get on. Manny says, pick of the week was Swamp Thing. Taylor says, Swamp Thing with Ice Cream Man is a close second. Same for me. If you watch my top 5 video, definitely. Scarpad's willing to mud wrestle Perry. Damn. CMA Thunder says, of course, Ice Cream Man. Dominic says, Ice Cream Man, both the regular issue and the short story from the Image 30th. You're right. Both of them were awesome. That short story was amazing. That was my favorite story in all of that anthology so far. Just 2 issues in, but you know. Perry says, flattered you think I could knock you out, but I'm more of a mud wrestler, and I'm scared to get it in my mouth. Hell yeah. Todd says, Swamp Thing was my pick of the week as well. It's such an incredible series. Batman the Fortress was a close second. I really liked the artwork in that. Story was decent, but really liked the artwork in that. Scarpat says, don't worry, Perry. We'll be wearing spandex. Moni says, Gunslinger Spawn, the best Spawn book in my opinion. Joram says, this week, interested in 14 books. Pick of the week that I read was Elvira. It made my top 5. I love the fucking Elvira books. Ice Cream Man is the contender, I think. CMA Thunder says, Ice Cream Man, awesome twist. The thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. Another love grows cold on a sleepless night. As the storm grows on out of control. Where the fuck did that come from? I used to do that all the time for CMA Thunder. You remember that back in the day? Dominic says, Newburn and Radiant were both very enjoyable as well. Is that BindNet? It's a BS. What, BindNet? I hope I'm not butchering your name. Batman Beyond is my pick of the week. It was in my top 5. I love that. Beyond the White Knight. Hell yeah. Larry says, I thought Batman Fortress was disappointing. Batman didn't help the citizens. They got to fight for themselves, right? Mark says, Swamp Thing was fantastic as always. Gunslinger Spawn was solid and visually stunning. But I think my pick of the week is The Lion and the Eagle #4 by Ennis and P.J. Holden. I read the first issue and enjoyed it. But I made the decision to wait until it's collected because it was just going to be a lengthy read every time it came out. Taylor says, I love the art on Fortress, but the story was pretty dull. Larry says, Gunslinger Spawn is my favorite. Scarpat says, Batman in Fortress channeling the cops in Texas. Oh, shit. Damn. Perry says, I've been so apprehensive to jump into Swamp Thing. What's a good jumping on point, or should I wait for the next arc? There's only 3 issues allegedly left of Ron V's run. It was originally going to be 10 issues. Now it's 16. So I hope that it goes further, but I would recommend getting the trade paperback because the first trade is out of ROM stuff. It's called Swamp Thing: The Becoming. Just start with #1 of Ron V Swamp Thing. You can actually start with his future state. That's a nice little story, but you can just start with #1. Pick up that trade. I think it has the Fear State 2-issue thing. Bimnit. All right, thank you. Bimnit. Thunderstruck. You've been. That's what I'd recommend. I'd also recommend checking out the first issue of Swamp Thing, Green Hell by Jeff Lemire and Doug Mahnke. Second issue is not out yet. I don't know when it's coming out, but there you go. Yeah, trade is good, man. Check it out. What's up, Trenton? How you doing? How you doing? Back in the comics, says crossover and Newburn. Newburn amped it up a little bit, right? So did Stillwater. Chip's doing some good stuff. About to be taking over Batman. I'm excited for that. I am. Rather excited for that, 100%. Do 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 do. Boom 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 boom. Doom, 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 doom. Anybody else got anything they want to mention for their favorite comic book of last week? Your pick of the week? It's another good topic to talk about. What y'all think about that Andor trailer? Now, controversial Star Wars opinion. Not that I care. But I didn't like Rogue One. I just didn't really like it. I don't know. I need to watch it again. Maybe I'll watch it again and like it. But when I did watch it, I was pretty drunk. To be honest with you. It's funny. Watch the Star Wars Rogue One movie review. I'm fucking loaded, man. So I was drunk as shit watching that movie. So I don't know if I've actually really watched it. That being said, I have no connection to this character in this movie. But I like that trailer. The trailer for Andor really worked for me. So I'm excited. Mark says, I asked Ron V about that when he was on the Word Balloon podcast. It's all the Swamp Thing for now, but he says he leaves it so someone can pick up where he leaves off. We need more. Trent and I am not reading any new manga yet. I haven't actually been reading hardly anything lately except for the stuff that we're covering. It's been a busy few weeks, but I'm hoping to get back into some leisure reading. I got a few things lined up that I want to read. Drifting Classroom, Shaman King, and I do want to try out One Piece just for the fuck of it. Andor looks dull, says Scarpad, but I liked Rogue One. And we got a super chat from Eli, which hopefully Chamara will forgive me for not liking Rogue One. Yeah, I didn't really like Rogue One that much, man. But y'all, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan like y'all. Like, I like Star Wars, but I'm not like as into it as a lot of people. That being said, Rogue One was just all right for me. But thank you for the super chat, Eli. We really do appreciate it. Who wants to help me out? Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had a sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. And he fights with the man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz. And an actor has nicknames named Johan. BPRD. Thank you so much for the super chat, Eli. I do appreciate that. I will be getting that money right before we go to Heroes Con. That's going to buy a drink to somebody. Hopefully someone like, I don't know, Doug Wagner, Ed Piscor, Tony Fleece. Who knows? Who knows who I'll run into that night? I hope so. I hope so. I'm going to try to be that guy. Anyway, I hope everybody checked out the conversation we had Thursday night with Joshua Williamson, writer of the upcoming Dark Crisis. He's the current writer on Batman. He's about to be giving that over, passing that torch over to Chip Zdarsky, one of the writers of one of the best issues of Silver Coin. We didn't even get to talk about that. We had a great conversation. Josh is a super cool dude, friend of the show, and I'm very excited. Y'all need to check that out if you haven't already. Manny is back now that we've done the Hellboy song. There you go. Scarpad wants to know, what did you think about the Top Gun Maverick cribbing A New Hope? I didn't watch Top Gun Maverick yet. I do want to go see it, but I haven't seen it yet, and so I don't know anything about it cribbing New Hope. Taylor says, episode 1 of Obi-Wan was boring as hell. If I wanted to see a middle-aged guy avoiding life, I just look in the mirror. Shit. I actually liked Obi-Wan. You know, I don't plan on a bit for Obi-Wan or anything like that, but I watched the first 2 episodes. First episode, I did like. I liked it. I actually liked the exploration on where he's been basically 10 years having lost this war, and I don't know. I liked the first episode. I really did. Second episode, I liked, but I didn't like as much. But I'll tell you what I did like, and I've never seen Rebels, and I've never watched beyond the first season of the Clone Wars, so I've never seen or know the Grand Inquisitor or any of those dudes. The Grand Inquisitor and like Fifth Brother, fucking badass. Yes, that's Han from Fast and Furious as the Fifth Brother. When I found that out, blew me the fuck away. He was my favorite character in that entire goddamn show. Ewan McGregor stepping right back into that role. I fucking loved it. As far as his performance, there are things I liked about it, things I thought were dumb. There's a chase scene in episode 2 involving a young woman, and these dudes are like chasing her, and that's the dumbest fucking scene. It's like they're like literally falling over nothing, because how do you not outrun a 10-year-old fucking girl? But, you know, whatever. Overall, I liked it. I'd give the first episode 4 you digs. I'd give the second one 3.5. But that's me, though. But I don't take Star Wars seriously. It's not like it's Star Trek. Trent says, read Chainsaw Man. It's crazy. I've heard mixed things about Chainsaw Man. It's a hard one to keep in stock at my shops. It's hard to ever even have it to read. William says, you need to read the manga book Monster. I have been planning on wanting to read some Urasawa because John Lee's friend of the show has recommended that. Blade of the Immortal. I have read Blade of the Immortal back in the day, like early 2000s when it was like Dark Horse was releasing it and shit. So I have read a big chunk of Blade of the Immortal and really, really liked it. Excuse me. BMet says, I was a fan of the Marvel movies for at least a decade now and ended up getting a part-time job at my local comic shop. Asking my coworkers about my favorite characters got me really interested. Ended up searching the web, led to your channel. I'm a huge fan. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, bro. Or sis. Who knows? I don't. So dare I assume. What is up, Verno? Verno, great show last night. Killed it with New York Ripper. Join me and Verno, Steph and Dylan over at Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And then join us Thursday night for the Best Comics of the Month stream. It's going to be me, Bearded Comic Bro, Nick Comic Culture, and Chamorro Cinema. We got a super chat. Thank you, Scarpad. Let me tell you about this little man I know. Hey me, it's Mario. Mario from Mario 3 might be the superior Mario, 'cause he's got the most power-ups. Don't you know he can get a raccoon tail or a frog suit? Even a thing that makes him turn into a statue. Doesn't seem like it would really be that important, but it will save your ass in certain sections of the game. Mario 3 is the best on the NES, 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 yes, it is the best, let me tell ya, but there's some other good games too, including some that we're not gonna discuss, but we're gonna mention one that is one of those most infuriating bullshit NES games. I vow I will beat it, but I never have, I'm still trying. His name is Jason, that fucking game. God damn it. So thank you so much, Scarpat. Scarpat says, Star Trek Strange New Worlds doesn't actually suck. It makes me homicidal like Picard. And make me homicidal like Picard. Have you watched? What do you think? I haven't seen Strange New Worlds yet. I did watch all of season 2 of Picard. I can't say I really liked it. But I haven't watched Strange New Worlds yet. I've never watched... I know this sounds silly, but I didn't watch the reintroduction of Pike and Spock and the Enterprise from that era on Discovery. I've only seen the first season, so I kind of want to rewatch that, but I'm about to jump into Stranger Things. But I do plan on checking out Strange New Worlds because I am hearing good things about it. I'm hearing good things about it. Manny says Strange New Worlds is really good. Chamario says, Mario, F it, I'm out. Wait, the verse went hard. No, it didn't. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. That's just goddamn my brain thinking. Man, since I got the new TV, I haven't plugged up the Wii because there's no more connections for it with the new TV. So I had to get a Wii to HDMI thing. Because yes, I don't have a Switch. I just have a Wii. I have an emulator on there, so I play old school games on my Wii. So I had to get this like converter. So I got it weeks ago, I finally like hooked it up. I have no fucking fresh ass AA batteries. So the Wii remote wasn't turning on. I tried every fucking AA battery I had, even the ones in the remote for the Blu-ray player in the bedroom, and they didn't fucking work. God damn it. Because I was really wanting to dive into that Wolverine game. I love that Wolverine game on NES. Anyway. Jacques is here. Station PCP Kingdom. Station you, my friend. Joram says, this group has good sense of pop, pop, boom. Thank you. Kick Cloud Kicker says, Picard is terrible. I did not like, there's so much I did not like about season 2 of Picard. There's certain things, the things I like, for instance, really what I like about it is it's really the Q journey, which that should have been a bigger focus on that show. And I do feel like we didn't get quite as good of a send-off for John Delancey's Q as we should have gotten. But that last scene with Picard kind of touched me, being a TNG fan. That kind of touched me. The rest of the show, that was stupid as shit, man. I really honestly did. I don't like the time travel back into the present day type stories. I don't like how they stretched everything out so fucking far. Oh my God. And I hate that, to me, the most compelling character on the entire goddamn show is now just living in the fucking, in our reality, in the past. Rios. Rios could be the focal point of a fucking Star Trek show himself. A very cool fucking character for Star Trek. And fuck it. He falls in love with a goddamn woman in 24, so he just stays the fuck behind. Fuck the goddamn butterfly effect. They're always like, don't fucking do anything to change anything. What if this was always meant to be? What the fuck is it, Star Trek? What the fuck is it? Is it you can't change shit or it's all meant to be? What the fuck is it? Sorry. Getting a little heated. Just what is it? What is it? Pick a goddamn fucking rule and stick with it. For time travel, Star Trek. God damn it. Come on. Fuck. They go back to the fucking future. Shit's all different. But they literally just loop it. And I'm just like, that's not that clever. Oh, don't forget, what's-her-name's got to go karaoke so that the board queen can fucking latch onto some endorphins or some shit. What the fuck? God damn it. Anyway. Don't really like Picard that much, I think, y'all. I know, Scarpet. I knew you were going to say that. You don't really have to watch Discovery. Just skip it and go directly to... Yeah, I know you say that, but I just can't explain how I feel about it. Oh, that would be a terrible idea, Scarpad. That would not be a cheerful holiday ornament at all. That was another thing. That story, so fucking obvious where it was going, took way too fucking long and was of way too more of too much importance for that story. And there are things that were like, I liked Seven and what's her name? Raffi. Like, I like them. I like some of these characters, but do something with them. You're giving us the most baseline, generic, fucking paper thin fucking subplot, and that's all you tease throughout. Like, you're not, and the whole shit with Brett Spiner being in the show, and he's like, well, I don't want to play Data. Okay, that's fine. That whole thing, and they're like, oh, we're supposed to be like, fuck, he's the creator of the con shit. Oh, who gives a shit? God damn it. We will get a Rio spinoff, or maybe he'll appear in Section 31. Or keep him as a hologram. Yeah, what? He might show up as the hologram. But Rios is a compelling fucking character and deserves a show focused around him. Like, I think, this is crazy, I think you could just have a ship in the Federation at a point in the timeline beyond what we've seen, like with TNG and shit like that. You just pick a ship, have a crew, a mission, and fucking just go. Just go with it. Like in the novels, what is it? What's the Peter David series? Is it New Frontier? Is that what it is? Is that what it's called? It's a New Frontier, a Strange New Worlds. It's New Frontier, isn't it? Is that what it's called? God, they're over there. Anyway, do something like it's just a different thing. I think that's saying a bit much. Olive Trek? Come on, bro. Chill Out Man's here says, release your beast. But that would make the writers create their own characters in situations that they ain't capable. Yeah, New Frontier, thank you. That was a cool book series I always liked. Just do another fucking, just another ship, another fucking crew. Doesn't have to be the Enterprise. Doesn't gotta be Pike connected to Kirk. And I hear good things about Strange New Worlds, and I'm excited to hear that. I am not a hater of Discovery Season 1. I like Discovery Season 1. I think it blew its load 4 episodes too fucking soon. And they had this weird thing where they went back after the big reveal, about Lorca or whatever, but like it kind of felt uneven that way. So I didn't like the ending of Season 1 of Discovery, but I like the aesthetic and the appeal of it. I don't know. This is me. All right, it's time to look ahead at what's coming up in shops this week. It's a light week this week, so that's kind of cool. But we got Batman, the 2022 annual. We got the Action Comics 2022 annual. Nice House on the Lake number 9. Miles Morales Spider-Man 38. Darth Vader 23. Ghost Rider number 3. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis number 1. Josh was talking a little bit about that on Thursday. Strange number 3. Alien number 12. Carnage number 3. Captain Marvel 38. Knights of X number 2. I'm not reading it. Star Wars Bounty Hunters 23. Black Panther number 6. Shadow War Omega number 1. Once in Future 26. Avengers Forever number 6. Little Monsters number 4. Scorched number 6. X-Men 92. House of 92 number 2. Walking Dead Deluxe number 40. Firepower number 21. What's the Furthest Place from Here number 6. We Have Demons number 3. A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance number 8. The Closet, a new one from James Tynion, number 1. Deadpool Bad Blood from our man Rob Liefeld, number 2. Step by Bloody Step, number 4. King Conan, number 5. Magic the Gathering, 15. Hardware, Season 1, number 6. Vampirella Dracula Unholy, number 6. New Think, Number 1, a new one from AWA. That one seems cool. Mike Deodato, and I think that's Greg Hurwitz. Stranger Things, Kamchatka. Number 3, Batman Beyond the White Knight Showcase Edition. That reprints 1 and 2 in a $5.99 edition. Loaded Bible, Blood of My Blood, number 4. Clear, number 6. That's on Comixology. Red Sonja, Red Sitha, number 2. Dynamite Never Dies, number 4. Cyberpunk 2077, Blackout, number 1. The Phalanx, number 1. That's a Luna Brothers film. A Luna Brothers book from Image. Stargirl, number 3. Stirgirl. Jim Henson's Storyteller, Shapeshifters, number 4. Rick and Morty, Infinity Hour, number 3. Super Freaks, number 1. Eric Larson. Is that a reprint? I think it's a reprint. Horror Comics, number 2, or number 10. Code 45, number 1 from Scout. Avatar, Adapt or Die, number 2. By the Horns, Dark Earth, number 1. Excited for the return of one of the best series of last year. Wolvenheart, number 13. New Man, number 4. New Men, number 4. Hawk the Slayer, number 3. Cult of Icarus, number 3. Primer, Red, which is the new one from AEW Comics, or Artist Elite Comics. Brett Booth. Ben Templesmith got some work in there. I've taken a look at it. It looks pretty cool. And that's pretty much all we got. What are you excited for coming out this week? I'm excited for Nice House on the Lake. I'm always excited for anything involving a crisis event. I'm excited for Scorched. Last House on the Left is a story really being dragged out. Did I say Last House on the Left? Or did I say Nice House on the Lake? Did you mess up or did I mess up? I don't know. Mark says, Discovery is beyond terrible and also very bad Trek. Super Freaks is not a reprint, says Dominic. Thank you for that. I thought it was. Thank you for clarifying. Manny says, New Think is one I'm most excited about. What are you excited about coming out this week? Let me know when we return after this first break here on Rockin Robbie Live.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just step it up. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just step it up. Don't be scared.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. It's a show where we gather on Sunday night to talk about movies, comics, pop culture, and a whole lot more. And we always have a lot of fun when we do it, so thank you so much for being here. We got a grand plan. Of course, we've already talked about our favorite comic books of last week. We talked a little bit about Obi-Wan. We looked ahead at what was coming up in shops this week. For this segment, we're about to get into the DC Comics sneak peek. DC's got some books out this week. I read them. What did I think about them? I'm about to let you know. Then we're going to be doing our first step in a journey through all of John Carpenter's films chronologically. So we're starting with his first film tonight, Dark Star. My thoughts, I rewatched it this morning, and I'm ready to talk about it. I am ready to start this journey that will be in conjunction with my Kung Fu journey, which is ongoing, led by my Sifu, guided by Bullseye Bob. And we're going to be alternating weeks. Kung Fu movie one week, John Carpenter film the next week. We're starting John Carpenter tonight. We're also going to be doing some Marvel in the 80s. An epic rematch of marvelous proportions. Let's just say that. I will say that you can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Instagram and on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. Join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and more. The newest episode of the podcast, we had a miscommunication between me and Hammer Time Holshoe last week. The newest episode, Comic Book Villains, will be dropping this week. It's probably supposed to be tomorrow, but I didn't send him the new file yet still. So it's probably not going to be tomorrow. Might be Tuesday or Wednesday morning, but it will be out this week. If you are on patreon.com/PCP, you can help support the channel financially, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Manny is one of them. Fable is one of them. I really appreciate the support from everybody that likes to donate money to the cause and all that kind of stuff and help keep the lights on, as Bueller would say, or the wheels turning. So thank you all so much for the support. But right now, if you are on Patreon at any level, be sure to take advantage of the fact that you can check out the Comic Book Villains podcast right now in the unedited raw format of us recording it. And you can also do that with a brand new episode. That's right. We've already recorded the third episode of this newest season. It's our 50th episode. It was all about Mel Brooks, the career and the legacy and the works of Mel Brooks. It was me, it was Hammer Time Holshoe, it was Dashing Drew Matson, it was Jelani. We had a grand time talking about Mel Brooks. You can check out the raw, unedited video version of the podcast exclusive to patreon.com/PCP. That is available right now as we speak. What's coming up here at the channel? No PCP movie night tomorrow night. We're taking Memorial Day off, but don't worry. We're going to make up for it Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we have the best comics of May. That's right. We still haven't gotten all of the comics of May because DC likes to release their books a day early, so they get the last laugh, I guess you can say, for May of 2022. But I will be there with Bearded Comic Bro, Nick Comic Culture, and Chamorro Cinema on Thursday night here on the channel to talk about our favorite comic books of May 2022 in a nice spoilery discussion. And then at Dylan's Horror Show Saturday night, join us. He's been doing them a little bit earlier lately, which I appreciate. I like the 6:30-ish time for me. But anyway, join us for Dylan's Horror Show Saturday night. We talk about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's been several years since I've watched that, so I'm excited to dive back in. Let's take a look at what the chat was saying, because when we last left you, we were looking at what's coming up in shops this week, and I asked you, what are you most looking forward to? Me personally, looking forward to By the Horns, Dark Earth #1, a return of one of my favorite series from last year. I got it in my living room right now. I haven't read it, but I'm excited to dig into it. Missing Link is in the house. Great show last night on Dylan's Horror Show, talking about the New York Ripper, Steph's first Italian horror film. What a one to start with. What a one to start with. And great show tonight with Fable and Herm and Chasing Nostalgia on Instagram, on the Blame Fable Tonight Show. Brian says, just got into Little Monsters a while ago and loving it. Nice House on Lake is still good to me. I like both of those books. Comics by the Bay is excited for The Closet. Super Freaks is the Savage Dragon fan comic. All right, that's cool. Baymet's looking forward to Carnage. Pop, pop, boom yourself, Steph. Snap, crackle, pop, pop, boom. Dairy Bandit says, Closet, new think, Astronaut Down looks interesting, number ones to pick up. Dominic's most looking forward to Super Freaks and Phalanx. Brian also says Miles Morales and Magic the Gathering. Taylor says, Closet, Righteous Thirst, Firepower. Atomic Buzzer says, why are they reprinting Batman White Knight 1 and 2? Is this a cash grab or to get Perry caught up? There was a kerfluffle with the release of issue number 1 where they kind of they printed too little copies, and a lot of people it's harder to get. So it's to reprint 1 and 2 in an affordable version to get more people into it and hopefully boost the sales of 4 and 5 is the idea. Whereas Joram says, because Sean Gordon Murphy is a stud, I agree. Todd says, I'm most looking forward to Carnage 3 for next week. Issue 2 is fantastic. I'm enjoying the horror aspects immensely. Mark says, nice House on the Lake 9 should be great. Was looking forward to the end of Shadow War, but the reveal of the killer got totally whiffed. Hawk the Slayer, number 3, is my nostalgic pick. Perry says, I'm about to watch 1993's Tick. Hope it doesn't suck. It doesn't. You talking about the cartoon? It doesn't. Looking forward to the Heat Celtics tonight. Y'all got to keep me updated on that when it starts. Has it not started yet? When does it start? Dun, 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 dun. It's going right now. Damn, the Heat are down 10 points in the first already. 24-14. Boston got 2 Mexican pizzas riding on the Heat, y'all. Let's get this together. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. Scarpat says The Boys Season 3 hits on June 3rd. Still haven't watched any of The Boys. I wasn't the biggest fan of the comic, but maybe I need to rethink that. Joram says Once and Future. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. That's a really solid book. Really solid book. All right, it's time to go into the DC sneak peek. Let's like not even waste any more time. First up, we got the Batman 2022 Annual. This is written by Ed Brisson with artwork by John Timms. I really like this. What this mostly is we've heard these rumblings that there's a new Batman Incorporated book coming out towards the end of the year. This is basically the setup for that. We can already see that Josh Williamson was setting up some stuff with Ghostmaker basically as the new leader of Batman Incorporated, and that's what this is. This is the first mission of Batman Inc. with Ghostmaker as their leader, and I liked it. I loved the artwork. I loved the energy. The story had some density to it, but it still had a nice flow and an energetic quality to the artwork. This was the best DC book I read this week. That was really fun. Then we got Action Comics 2022 Annual. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson and Cy Spurrier with Dale Eaglesham as well as Ian Churchill. And Ian Churchill is pumping out some of the best art I have seen from this dude ever. Ian Churchill has been able to kind of morph and adapt his style throughout the years, but here it is like ultimate level Ian Churchill. And Eaglesham stuff's cool as well, but it's a little bit of an unknown portion of Superman's history growing up, and it's juxtapositioned with Mongol, the current iteration of Mongol, and his childhood growing up. So it's a story about sons and mothers, Kal-El and Martha, and why did you say that name? And Mongol and his mother. So I really liked that. I thought it was a super solid issue. Then we got Shadow War, Omega. Now, I saw someone, I can't remember who, but somebody had just recently said they didn't like the reveal. The reveal makes a lot of sense with that character's history, with the two characters being put against each other. That being said, I do think it's pretty dumb that he takes off the Deathstroke costume and he's wearing his own costume underneath it. They do shit like that in comics. It's just the way it is. I like the wrap-up. It's a very quick, breezy wrap-up, but it also does some really great character moments, I think, with Bruce and Damian that kind of are the heart of the whole thing, and it has a setup for Deathstroke leading into Dark Crisis that I really liked. So overall, I thought this was a really solid and fun superhero crossover. And am I just saying that because Josh was just on the show? No. I'm saying that because that's what I really feel. And I'll tell you what I really feel about this one. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis. I hate to say it, but it's kind of skippable. It really is skippable. What this does is it previews elements of what's coming up in Dark Crisis. So it's got a story in here. It's a bunch of short stories done by different people. It's got a story by Joshua Williamson that is building up what is going to be like the dynamic between two heroes in Dark Crisis number 1, because I've read Dark Crisis number 1. I really liked it. And this kind of builds into that. Then there's a story. Let me just try to remember. All right, there's a Flash story in here by Jeremy Adams that kind of leads, because Jeremy Adams' Flash is going to be a heavy tie-in to Dark Crisis, and it leads you into into some of that and the history. There's a Aquaman story with it's Jackson, it's Aqualad, it's Jackson Hyde, Aquaman lad, and Hal's in it, and it threads something together, and it's interesting. There's a Pariah story by Philip Kennedy Johnson I really liked, and then it ended with a Stephanie Phillips story. What was the character? Oh, it's like a Nocturne story, and it was okay. So overall, I didn't think it was the strongest issue. I did like the Williamson bit the most because it does kind of emotionally start revealing the core of what Dark Crisis is dealing with, at least in the early phases. So I thought that story was okay. Some of the others were all right, but for the most part, it's not a must-read. But if you're a Crisis mark like me, you definitely want to pick it up. And I never want to say anything bad about a friend of the show's book, but I mean, come on, y'all. It's just kind of filler. Anyway, Nice House on the Lake, issue number 9. It's still a good book, still a really good book. But at this point, I'm going, because throughout this book, and each issue's kind of been focused on its own character and building up their relationship with Walter and with the rest of the group and continuing the mystery. The mystery, we are now at the part in this story where we know more than the characters do. And that's sometimes can be utilized to the benefit. But when you do this like pullback on what the characters know, but we still know more, it gets a little bit like just kind of almost doing the same reveals at times. And then each issue is focused on a different character, and we're getting to know the characters better that way. But in this one, I'm like, wait, who the fuck is this guy? I forgot that this guy was a thing. So it warrants a rereading right now, but it is still masterfully done. The artwork by Alvaro Martinez Bueno is amazing with that coloring by Jordi Belair. Story's still very compelling. And that is what I read. And to recap, Nice House on the Lake continues, but it warrants a reread. I mean, we're 9 issues in, you know. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis, it's got some good bits in it, but it's kind of skippable. Shadow War Omega, I like this. I thought it was a nice, solid, fun, crossover type book. Action Comics was awesome, but the best DC book I read this week was the Batman Annual, which is mostly a lead-in, and I hope to Batman, the new Batman Incorporated book, and I hope that Ed Brisson and John Timms are the team, because this worked. It was energetic, it was fun, it was a good mystery, and it was well-paced, but it had a density in story and in energy with the artwork. So I thought it was awesome, and that was your DC sneak peek. So there you go. Why's nobody going to approve Chaos with his oi fucking vase? Let's see. Where are we at? Let me remove my mask and reveal my new costume. Yeah, it is a little silly. Mask under the mask, the pandemic won't get him. Tynan doing the thing where the idea is great, but it gets old around issue 8. And a little bit of that probably happening in that one. You need to start adding what main characters are in the comics, and some people don't read them. Yeah, the lag is bad. I don't know what lag we're talking about. If there's lag, I hope it's on. It's unfortunately, hopefully it's not on my end. I don't know if. I don't know if it's on my end if you're experiencing any lag, but I do get comments later than y'all. That's an intentional thing I did. What were we talking about before that? Oh, what main characters? Okay, I'll tell you the main characters. The main character in Batman is Ghostmaker and Batman Incorporated. Ghostmaker's the main character in that one. Action Comics main character is going to be Clark Kent, Superman, and Mongol. It's an origin story a little bit for Mongol. Shadow War main characters, Batman, Robin, Deathstroke, Talia, Al Ghul. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis main characters, Jonathan Kent, Dick Grayson, Jackson Hyde, Nocturna, and Pariah. Nice House on the Lake main characters. One of the guys I barely remember being in the book. So there you go. Those are the main characters in those books. Did you read Hardware? I read the first one, didn't really quite vibe with it. Decided to jump out, maybe trade weight it, or read the Milestone stuff first. And we got plans to do Milestone in the 90s. But we're not there yet. I have no wrenches here? They all left. Those motherfuckers. Why doesn't Holshoe have a wrench? I need to give Holshoe a wrench. Holshoe's here. What's up, John? Hey, I got the audio version of the podcast where I bumped you up. I forgot to send it to you. I'll try to remember to send that to you afterwards. And maybe we can get that up tonight, or I told everybody to expect it maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or something. But I boosted you up a little bit like you suggested, and there you go. Glad to hear that the Batman Annual is great. I'm always rooting for Ed Brisson. John says, I like the old Batman Incorporated, but disappointed it was not a Batman and Kids Incorporated crossover. Who are you? Well, we're Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Cannot burn up, we're Kids Incorporated. Fable's back. We got a blue wrench back. Hell yeah, John. I know that you said sounds good to our podcast discussion we were just having, but I'm envisioning that you were saying sounds good about my rendition on the Kids Incorporated soundtrack. Big Herm says, my bad, Robbie and Chris. Been bagging and boarding while watching you. Okay. You know, Fable, Big Herm, just because you got the wrench doesn't mean you have to be here, but we are talking about chaos in comics, okay, y'all? If Chaos is not pleased with PCP, PCP's probably not going to be working, okay? So we need to make sure that he's cool, all right, y'all? If we get an Oi fucking Vey, we need it approved if it's from Chris, man. Come on. Chris, how caught up do you stay on your comics, man? Would you ever be wanting to do one of the best of the month shows with us? I know that sometimes you can fall behind, right? You stay kind of caught up, right? If we gave you a target month, would you be like willing to try to be as caught up as possible and come chat with us about the best comics of the month? Just let me know. We're PCP Incorporated. Joss Williamson is at the helm of Dark Crisis. Your thoughts as to where he's taking Earth Prime? Very cool. Obviously, we had him on the show. He's a super cool dude. I do a best of the month. I stay caught up. Hell yeah, Chaos. But Jorm, getting to know him a little bit and having a conversation with him backstage, I trust DC's future with this dude. He understands DC, at least on a level where I feel like I understand it, and I'm very excited about his plans. I had already read Dark Crisis #1, so I got a little bit more information backstage that he couldn't reveal, and I'm excited for the book. But I am also DC head marked for DC Crisis stuff, so. Mark says, I thought the reveal, talking about the Shadow War, I thought the reveal made Batman seem kind of dumb. Clues pointed to an Earth mover. Batman was on a team with an Earth mover, who also happens to be Deathstroke, world's greatest detective. Who also happens, it made me feel like stupid too, because I wasn't thinking about it. But after the reveal, it makes a lot of sense. But you're probably right. What books would you have Donny Cates sign? I'm trying to decide for Comic-Con. I would have him sign my favorite book of his, which is God Country. I only have that in a trade paperback version, so I'd have him sign that. And I actually have the Donny Cates trading card that was released. I think when Thor #1 was released, there was like a trading card pack, and some of them had a Donny Cates. I have that card, and I'd get him to sign that. So for me, I'd get him to sign his trading card, and I would get him to sign God Country. I heard Donny Cates and McFarlane don't even show up to cons. McFarlane doesn't show up to many. Cates does show up to cons, though. With Kids Incorporated. All right, we're starting a journey into John Carpenter's films. I now own every single John Carpenter film. I have never watched them all in order chronologically. We're starting that. I watched his first film today, Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter. We're talking about Dark Star. So Dark Star is a pretty interesting movie. It's John Carpenter's first film. It's also Dan O'Bannon's first film. So they worked on this together when they were in film school at USC. And initially it was like a student film of like 45 minutes or something. Eventually it got some attention and they wanted to make it a full-length picture. So a couple years later, the next year, they had to refilm some stuff and like lengthen it. And then somebody decided to distribute it. And then they had to cut stuff and refilm stuff. And then it came out and it didn't do much, but it's got a really interesting tone. All of the production design and special effects are like pretty much done and supervised by Dan O'Bannon. So he's got a heavy hand in the film, including being the co-writer along with Carpenter and of course being an actor in the movie. But it's about this spaceship, the Dark Star, that is out on this mission. They've been out in space. For them, it's been like they've aged 3 years, but they've been out there for 20 years. They don't have a lot of communication. Their ship is deteriorating, and they just recently lost their commander. So now the dude in the middle, Doolittle, is in charge. Dan is the dude in the forefront. What's his name? Pinwheel or Pinprick or something like that? I can't remember. But these three dudes are living in this close quarters, and they're getting to the point where they're kind of getting, like, they're going a little bit mad, and they're not necessarily liking each other. They're kind of pent up together. And Dan O'Bannon's character in particular is really getting on the nerves of the others, right? So there you got that. And like they're dealing with this idea of isolation. And they're all dealing with it in their own ways, but they're not kind of like actually helping each other. But they've been up there for so long. The ship just keeps getting worse. Certain things don't work anymore. Like all their toilet paper burned away. There's this one dude. There's a fourth dude there. And he stays up in this dome at the top, just staring off into fucking space the whole time. And has totally ostracized himself from the rest of the crew. But he's the one that Doolittle actually likes. There's a really great scene where Doolittle goes up there and talks to him, and he mentions that he was a surfer and he just wants to at least wax his surfboard one more time. But anyway, as everything's going on, the computer is starting to malfunction a little bit. There's all these weird little bits. One of the bits they added in was the beach ball alien. It's like this beach ball painted up to look like a tomato or something with these feet. And there's this whole extended sequence that does kind of drag out just a little bit, but it is kind of funny. And then you got the computer. The computer is actually a very benevolent force, but this ship is deteriorating. It's been out there for so long that it's just breaking apart. Now, the movie is a comedy. And that's something that audiences didn't really understand at the time. And the movie doesn't hit on a nice comedic type pace. But it is actually done in a very cerebral, surreal, kind of weird pace because it's also kind of parodying and homaging the works of Kubrick, like Strangelove, like 2001. One of the big plots is about this bomb. Their whole point for being into space is basically to blow up what they call unstable planets that are going to break orbits in potential colonized areas or something like that. There's this whole bit too where it's one of the most chilling bits, no pun intended, in the whole thing where their captain who had died, they're keeping him alive in like this cryogenic freezer and they can still communicate with him and it's very ghostly and creepy, but the bomb is malfunctioning because they go through this asteroid belt. There's this funny like banter between the bomb, the astronauts on the ship. And what's really cool is Dan O'Bannon's character is like not even an astronaut. He just like got mistaken to be one. And like, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of wielded in there. And for a student film, this would be amazing, but they did kind of extend it out and I don't know, kind of draw it out a little bit, and it kind of hinders it just a bit. It went, I think I saw either Dan or John say it went from being one of the most brilliant student films ever to a below average big deal film, right? But the basic premise involves this malfunction. This bomb is going to go off. It's going to kill everybody. So the captain goes out there and talks to it at the behest of the other captain, the previous captain, and he gets the bomb to stop, but then the bomb still blows up. So everybody basically dies. He's out there in space with the dude who was in the dome. He winds up becoming part of this Phoenix meteor, like asteroid belt or whatever. And then the dude, Doolittle, finally finds a piece of the ship, of the wreckage after it gets blown up. And he's the last survivor, basically. And he gets to surf this piece down and burn up in the atmosphere of this planet that they were trying to destroy. So Dark Star is a very interesting film. It's got a very weird, surreal tone to it. The comedy doesn't come across, but you have to be in on the joke, I think, to begin with it. But it also does do some really interesting bleak type stuff that gets elaborated on in Dan O'Bannon's next feature film, which is Alien. And then John Carpenter goes on to do amazing stuff. It's directed very well. It's not performed very well. The special effects for a $60,000 budget are phenomenal. The performances are serviceable. They're okay. It works, but they do kind of linger on a little bit. Certain sequences go on a bit too long. Some sequences are utterly fascinating. So it's a movie that is a little bit up and down, but at the same time, it's enjoyable, and it's a bold start from both Dan O'Bannon and from John Carpenter. It's got some eerie moments. It's got some funny moments. It's got some threatening moments. It's got some poignant moments. That's Dark Star, and I'm going to give it 3.5 ya dings. What do you think about Dark Star? Let us know right now. So the movie came out in 1974 when it was finally released. It was made earlier than that. So there's my Blu-ray edition of it right there. This comes from, I can't even read. VCI Entertainment. Yeah, I got this on Amazon last year. It was one of the last Carpenter films I needed on disc. The transfer looks really good for a student film, low-budget production that always looked bad every time you watched it on VHS or on DVD. So it looks a lot better here. But I love the movie. I think it's really good. I think it's got this really nice kind of tone and approach. Also, John Carpenter did the music for it. And it's one of my favorite scores by John Carpenter. It adds that eerie tone. And it's kind of trying to ape on 2001 a little bit. But at the same time, it kind of does it in a very blue-collar way, which is something you see upcoming in Dan O'Bannon's work for Alien. So there's a lot to this prototypical movie, you can say. It's like a prototype for a John Carpenter film or a Dan Bannon sci-fi, right? So it's got all those bits. It works for me. 3.5 ya digs. Super excited to revisit that next time we do a John Carpenter film. It will be Assault on Precinct 13. Expect that like 2 weeks or so. Let's see what everybody's saying. We got Lost in Comics in the house. What is up, y'all? Good to see you. This needs to be on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah, it's definitely one to check out. And if you can't find it anywhere, somebody's got it on a YouTube channel just available to watch. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. Super easy, super quick. It does run long in certain sequences, but it is worth it to make it through it. I think it's overall pretty solid. Nick says, oh, that's an epic ending. It really is, and a rather ambitious film. These guys started off with $1,000 to do a short film and wound up making a feature. And expanding the feature, I think, lengthens it, and this should be a shorter film. but you got to get that feature link to get, and somebody, I think it was on here, there's like a written introduction by Dan O'Bannon. I think it was on that where he says that him and John Carpenter went to the opening night. They went to like 40 theaters or so in the area in Hollywood where it was debuting, and they like would go in there and let the manager know who they were, that they did the film and all that kind of shit. And he's like, we just want to pop in and gauge the audience reaction. They're like, what fucking audience? And it wasn't marketed, nor does it appear or present itself as a comedy. You have to know that it's a comedy, because otherwise you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's like it's trying to take itself seriously, but it's not. But it is meant to be a gag, like a goof, a spoof, if you will, on Kubrick. It is Mel Brooks's High Anxiety, right, to Carpenter's... Wait. Mel Brooks' High Anxiety to Hitchcock is Carpenter and Bannon Dark Star to Kubrick, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I do think it's an epic ending, personally. I think it's pretty dope. So nobody else watched this out there. You guys, y'all have never seen it. Y'all have never seen this. I see nobody sharing thoughts. It's curious. Here we go. Mark McGrath says, enjoy Dark Star very much. It's a little uneven, but considering it is a first effort, that's forgivable. Surprised how funny it was going in blind. Any sci-fi fan should watch. I agree, 100%. Blow up in the atmosphere or black hole spaghettification. Go. I do the black hole thing just because I want to know. What does happen then with the black hole? We know what happens if you burn up in an atmosphere, re-entering a planet or entering a planet. We know what happens there. We don't quite know what happens when you hit a black hole event horizon. So I'd rather see that. If I have to go out one of those ways, I'm going to pick that one. But the other character that gets lost out in space throughout the movie, he's the dude that's up there in the dome. And he's always just fucking like watching the stars. He doesn't like ever leave. And he's the one fascinated by these Phoenix asteroids that apparently every, like, I don't know, like 13, 14 trillion years, they circled the universe and they glow and they come and they pick him up and he becomes a part of it. So he like ascends. And I think that's like a jab at the space baby bit. Oh, Trade Paper Dad, Big Herm, James never seen it, Rogue's never seen it, never heard of it, but interested to check it out. Old Shoe says never seen it, want to see it now. Sounds like cool sounds like cool film. Big Carpenter fan, obviously. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. I've watched this before, but it's been a while. The DVD I used to have was really bad, and so I got rid of that a while ago. And so I'm glad to have it on this Blu-ray. It even mentions that like they had to piece it together from so many different sources that this is the best it's going to look. And I think it looks fine for what it is, which is a student film from the early 70s. And it's John Carpenter's first film. He did the soundtrack, and it's all like synthesizer, like analog synthesizer and shit. It really sounds awesome. Nick says, gotta check it out. Black hole for me too. Hell yeah. Eric says, remember hearing about this movie on some Alien special features, but never got around to seeing it. On my backlog now. Hell yeah, Eric. Like I said, there's somebody on YouTube that's got it's not the greatest quality copy, but it's up there. So you don't have to like try to find it. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. We can look real quick. Let's see. Dark Star. Right now, it's for free on Plex, Tubi, Roku channel, Crackle, Pluto. It's got part of a premium subscription on Sling and Amazon, and you can rent it on YouTube from $1.99. Like I said, though, there's somebody out there who's got it up, the full thing. I didn't watch it, so I don't know if it's good quality, because I have this baby. It's got some bonus features. Part of the bonus features are a 2-hour making of documentary that I didn't have a chance to watch. Interview with Alan Dean Foster, who I think did a novelization of this. Interview with Brian Norell, who is one of the stars of the film. a 3D guide to the ship, full-length audio commentary by superfan Andrew Gilchrist, and a written intro by Dan O'Bannon. Yeah, just a written intro. It's weird. It scrolls across as the movie's starting. It's weird. But he said that people didn't think it was a comedy, and they were really unclear on the tone. So he's like, well, fine. Next time I won't try to make you laugh. I'll try to make you scream. And he says he literally tries to do the same bit. And what he's talking about is that whole blue-collar aspect that's in Alien and the decrepit nature of the ship and how it keeps breaking down. Like, how scary space travel actually would be, especially in a corporate world, right? Where they're just sitting like... There's a moment where they're like, we need radiation shielding. They're like, you know what? There have been some cuts in Congress and we can't send them to you. Like, that's the message they get back after 10 fucking years. So, a little crazy. It's a really solid movie, though. 3.5 is very, very high for that film, I think. First effort from John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon, and it works! And there's funny bits, too. You can tell, like, on the control panel, some of them are just like ice cube trays with lights underneath them, so they look like buttons. And then on one of the dude's spacesuits, it's like a muffin pan that's like just put like glued to the chest and like spray painted. I can't tell if that's Al or AI. Heard of it, been on my list to watch, will watch it soon. Hell yeah. Hope you enjoy it. Nick says, oh God, corporate ran space travel would be hell. Yeah, it would. Yes, it would. All right, time for the next bit. It's time for one of our favorite segments here on Rockin Robbie Live. It's time for Marvel in the 80s. And today we're talking about The Incredible Hulk 340, written by Peter David, with artwork by Todd McFarlane. This is a very famous issue because it is a rematch, if you will, of Wolverine versus Hulk, but it is in fact Grey Hulk. This is during the time when Hulk only became Grey Hulk during night, and he was a little bit less powerful. There was a Fantastic Four story, or it was actually a Hulk story where Thing shows up, Thing is extra mutated, and Hulk, of course, is weaker as Grey Hulk, and Thing actually finally beat him. And this is a rematch between Wolverine and Hulk in a weird, interesting circumstance of events. So it starts off, we get this weird Peter David type threading throughout the thing of a woman comparing her life to a vicious cycle or circle, and it spins like the snow globe she's watching. It goes all the way through. It just turns out to be Betty. She's sad that the Hulk's not there. She's just thinking about where he is. Anyway, Hulk at this point is Gray. He's going cross country with this dude named Quartermain and Rick Jones. And Rick Jones is right there, got a Felix the Cat doll in the foreground. So there's Todd McFarlane in his early days always put a Felix the Cat. But they're running around the country dismantling these gamma bombs that are lying around. And Hulk, there's this blizzard going on, and they're in Texas. There's this blizzard going on, and there's a lot of Marvel comics of this era that reference this. And as far as I remember, this is when like the cask of the ancient winters or some shit was unleashed in a Thor comic. But he's tired of being in this cooped up van. He decides he's going to just leap off and have some fun. Meanwhile, the X-Men are flying back from a mission. It's Wolverine who is now the leader because Storm is missing. They're trying to find Storm, but it's Wolverine leading an X-Men team of Rogue, Havoc, Dazzler, Psylocke before the ninja assassin stuff, and Longshot. And he's trying to be a good leader. And he gets an alarm. He barely dodges the Hulk. Hulk's like, what's that? Hulk hits an airliner, like an airplane, busts into one of the engines, causes it to explode. The engine lands on Hulk, pisses him off. He's like, what the hell? Wolverine lands. They want to make sure everybody's okay, that it didn't land on somebody or anything like that. And then we cut to the leader. Leader is controlling mentally somebody in the government, trying to figure out where these gamma bombs are. Who cares? And then we got another one of those Betty Brant things, her hands. But then we get the real meat of the story here. Hulk versus Wolverine. Wolverine's on the ground. Hulk's on the ground. Police show up. Hulk's just trying to get some food. They shoot the shit out of Hulk. Doesn't do anything. He's trying to just like throw shit at him. It blows up. His food dies. He just gets pissed. His food dies. His food gets just extinguished. He gets super pissed. Wolverine goes to figure out what's going on with all this commotion. Pulls down his mask. One interesting thing artistically about this book, and I love the Todd McFarlane artwork. We'll get into that after I go through the story. I don't know if this is because Todd didn't ink it this way in certain panels, but usually on the Wolverine mask, you get a darker kind of shading on those fin bits, and it's really weird to see them colored this way, especially compared to when we don't. So Hulk sees Wolverine. He's mad already. He goes after Wolverine. Wolverine slashes him, and they wind up getting into a fight. Now, Wolverine's trying to be the leader. He's trying to be an example. He's trying not to give in to the berserker rage, so he unsheathes his claws, says, I don't want to fight you, Hulk. I'm gonna dip. I'm gonna walk away. Hulk's like, fuck no. So he comes after him, and they wind up getting into a tussle. Notice the great dynamic artwork from Todd McFarlane. We'll get into that. So they wind up getting into this big fight. Wolverine's trying not to give in to this berserker rage, but eventually it does happen. He does one of those thunderclap things, and it almost busts out Wolverine's eardrums, and he starts losing it. He pops his claws. He runs after the Hulk and shanks him Elektra style, or bullseye style, I should say, straight into the gut, thinking he just killed the Hulk. And he does his howl or whatever. The Hulk gets up though. Even though he's weaker, he heals faster. He's getting angrier, and he's A-okay. And so the fight resumes. Then we cut back to Rick and this other guy, Quartermain, and they're talking about some bullshit just to let us know that they're still there. Plus this whole Betty bullshit that they're doing. Back to the fight. That's why we're all here. It's a nice fight. Everybody, each one of them is kind of getting one up on one another. Wolverine slashing away, actually using his claws, causing damage. Hulk's knocking the shit out of him. It's a really great fight. Then it comes up into this last bit. This is like the Superman Doomsday bit, right? Where they kill each other, but they come up, and once again, just doesn't it look weird when you don't have the fins shaded that way? I don't know if this is Todd's inking. And it's just a weird look, because it's very inconsistent in this book. So the coloring in this book I think is fine, but overall, that bit kind of is weird to me. So they're fighting. They're going to keep fighting. They get blasted by a gun. It's this Quartermain dude. He's like, yo, you got to cut this shit out. And Wolverine's like, you know what? We got to. I thought I was beyond the berserker. Turns out I still am. Hulk's like, fuck you, bruh. I've kicked your ass. And he just leaves, and they go off. And then we get a little tease of it was Betty whining about the Hulk the entire time. Like anybody cares. But that is what happens in The Incredible Hulk 340. Most people buy this book. It has value because of the cover. But the story in it story's okay, but the fight is pretty dope. Let's look at the artwork by Todd McFarlane. You can tell when he wants to draw something when he doesn't. He doesn't want to draw this. He wants to draw Hulk there. The detail. At this time in Marvel Comics, everything kind of looked the same, and it was the standard Jim Shooter dictated kind of era at Marvel. Todd was coming in Hulk and really kind of adding in these extra lines of detail and density that really popped and worked, that a lot of Marvel comic fans weren't expecting at the time. So you can tell that some of the stuff is okay, and Todd McFarlane has obviously evolved into an even better artist, but there was something captivating at this time. Certain pages are a little droll, a little lag, but then when you get to the action, Todd knows how to sell it. 100%. Even the leader, I love the look of the leader here. This is when he had a bigger head, or a more wide head, a more butt head, I should say. And Todd really captures that pretty well. This is actually earlier in his run on Hulk. He was there for a little bit, but this is, I think, within the first maybe, 8 issues or so that he did. But I think his run on Hulk is super solid. The way he draws Hulk here is cool. I love the way he draws Wolverine once he's got his mask on. But like I said, I don't know if it's because he didn't ink it dark on the fin mask parts, and then he does here. But Wolverine looks so much better when the coloring is more black on that fin mask rather than that, which looks a little bit odd and almost European. He looks more like the Badger than Wolverine in those bits. And it does seem like the coloring is a little bit weird, but I don't know if it's the inking or a deliberate choice in the color, but the posing, the sequence of events, the action, the fight, it's all there. And especially for 1988, 1987, this is what you want to see. It's a brutal fight. It gets down to the nitty gritty. Hulk looks great in his giant Frankenstein monster McFarlane type way. And Wolverine looks cool. It's just that coloring does kind of get to me, y'all. It really does. But it's just an excuse for a big battle. Not much else really going on in the story, but it works for that. And most people get this for the artwork on the cover, but the artwork inside is definitely worth it. Now, obviously, we're reading this because it's part of my Wolverine omnibus. However, I have this issue. I just recently picked this up like a few weeks ago. So I actually have this issue. I was super excited because the omnibus does the thing where it uses the colors, but the colors were meant to be printed on newsprint, so it doesn't quite capture certain nuanced elements of what the color is supposed to be doing, and it feels a little bit too bold and at times garish on the reprints. So I was very excited to get this and be able to read it. This is a decent reader's copy of Incredible Hulk 340, but that's how I like them. Artwork works. The coloring really works on this. This is that newsprint. There's a certain way that ink is supposed to absorb onto the page. Look at that Captain Power ad. I love that shit. I have a Captain Power bit. But Todd McFarlane's artwork is the reason why this works. It is a Hulk Wolverine fight. It is a weird choice, though, with the way that they decided. And I don't know, like, if anybody knows more about this, I would love to see, because I would assume that most of the blacks we see on the page, I would always assume that they're inked in. That may not be the case here, but if it is, maybe like Todd didn't ink the black on the fins there, and he didn't ink it as much as say he did this. But it's weird to have like that on one page and then that on the other. I prefer this as opposed to that. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? There's a great Konami Nintendo ad right there. But really cool to have this book. It's a must in any Marvel fan collection. If you're a Wolverine fan, if you're a Hulk fan, first of all, the Peter David run is amazing. I want to collect all the Peter David run. What I've read of it, I really enjoy. It's a legendary run. This is the most expensive book in the run. So just find a beater copy. It's still too expensive, but it will get you through. And I'm glad that that's what I have. A lot of these are getting slabbed up nowadays. The more that get slabbed, the more difficult it's going to be to find in the wild with a copy you can flip through and read. And I've always loved those Chips Ahoy ads. So I like the book. Overall, I would give it a good 4 out of 5, you digs. Just really solid Hulk Wolverine fight. Peter David stuff sometimes can lean too much into trying to build a complex story and not really being able to, he lets this just do what it's supposed to do. And I really think it excels for that. So overall, I love it. I think it's a great book. Glad it's in my collection. Glad I have an actual issue to flip through and I don't have to read the omnibus this week. But more Wolverine as we approach. More Marvel in the 80s and Marvel in the 90s. Lots more stuff planned. But that was today's bit of Marvel in the 80s. Yeah, Trade Paper Dad, you could always crack a slab, but the problem is on a book like this, the slabbing will increase some of that value. So I luckily in my position, a book came in and I was like, I want it. It's a low grade. I would put this at like, it's not super low grade actually. It's probably like, I don't know. I'd probably put it like a 5 to a 6. But that's what I wanted because Raw, that was way more affordable than, that book's gotten ridiculously priced. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what y'all said. Well, chill out, man's got to go. Enjoy the stream, brah. As always, Be good, be safe, pop, pop, boom. Hell yeah. Is there a PCP movie list posted anywhere? Well, the next movie we're doing on PCP Movie Night is not tomorrow, but it's a week from tomorrow. It's Grosse Point Blank. And the next movie that I'm doing next week is a Kung Fu movie that I don't remember the name of right now. Bobby says, this is a good one. Oh, yeah, that inking or something feels off. It's like this. I don't know. It's like thinly inked on the outline of Wolverine, so it doesn't add that dimension. And so the coloring just, I don't know. There's something weird about that. Dan says, love a good Hulk Wolverine tussle, yo. Yeah, me too. Who doesn't? Fins were shaded on the other panel. That's what I'm trying to figure. Because sometimes what will happen is, usually what will happen is the penciler will like have the black, the areas that are supposed to be all black, they'll have like little X's in there. But Todd was the inker of that. So it just seems like he didn't ink Wolverine fully in those pages, and the colorist just applied the fucking color. And it looks so much sharper when you have that heavier that heavier spotting of blacks and a little bit of the colors used for the highlights. That looks way better than when it's so, I don't know, it's so weird. Fable says, I love the art. Bobby says, you mentioned earlier with the mutated Thing beat the Great Hulk. He beat him in a Fantastic Four comic that carried over to a Hulk. That's right, it was a crossover. You're right. Yeah, with the help of Dr. Doom. I wish 80s, 90s comics would have been printed on nicer paper. Was that even available then? At this time, nicer paper was available. I know they had Baxter paper and shit like that, but the problem was that a lot of, they didn't know how to color on them. So the color, I think, comes through better. Like the color comes through better on here. The lines don't always reproduce as well as they could, but the color comes through better because they had been using these techniques for a long time. So I like newsprint comics. And when I read something from the 80s, 70s, I would prefer reading it on newsprint. That's just me, though. We all have our different tastes. Mark says, I think this might be the first time I read that the Hulk actually gets hurt but regenerates so fast when he is regular Green Hulk that you can't really tell. Exactly. They mentioned that in there. Which do you like more, Hulk versus Wolverine or Hulk versus Thor? Always a Hulk versus Thor. Actually, I prefer, out of all of them, Hulk versus Thing. That's the quintessential Marvel hero brawl that I like to see. All the way back to Fantastic Four number 12, baby. Mike says, I have a 5.5 Werewolf by Night 32 slabbed. I've been tempted to crack it open, but have yet to do so. I would suggest then, man, crack that shit open, read it if you want to, or get the complete collection trade paperbacks if you just want to give it a read. But if you do crack it and you want to get it reslabbed, get it pressed a little bit first. Maybe you can actually get a better grade next time. Someone get Todd on the phone. We need answers, right? Yeah, we ever have Todd on the channel, and I'm sure that will happen one day. I feel it just like Fable does. Maybe I'll ask him, like, yo, what happened in Hulk 340? Then he'll be like, fuck you, buddy. I'm out of here. I don't want to talk about Marvel. What's the Heat Celtics at? Come on, Heat. Pull a miracle out. 49-55, Boston. At halftime. Come on, Heat, man. 2 Mexican pizzas right on this shit. When we come back, top 5 movies in 2004 and the debut of a brand new segment here at PCP. We'll be right back, y'all, here on Rockin Robbie Live.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is is a nice range, cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Welcome back, everybody, here to Rockin Robbie Live on Pop Culture Philosophers for the third and final act of tonight's Rockin Robbie Live. We have already had a great time tonight talking about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We talked about our favorite comic books of last week. We looked ahead at what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. I did a movie review of Dark Star, the very first John Carpenter film, launching a journey into John Carpenter films chronologically. Hear every other show on Rockin Robbie Live. Excuse me. We also just did a Marvel in the 80s bit, talk about Incredible Hulk number 340. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie and join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. And the newest episode of the podcast is about to be dropping this week over at that website or iTunes and things like that. But if you're on patreon.com/PCP, if you're on patreon.com/PCP, you right now have access to the video unedited raw version of the second episode of this year's podcast, Comic Book Villains, and the newest one, Mel Brooks, which we just recorded Friday night. That is available to all supporters at patreon.com/PCP. It's video. It's us recording it before the edit, before the audio releases. We are just now releasing episode 2 of the 2022 season. So you're going to get it way earlier than the rest of everybody else. Let me let you know that. Also, if you're on patreon.com/PCP, you get a downloadable audio version of the weekly comic book review, available about an hour and a half to 2 hours before the video drops on YouTube. What's coming up here on the channel? We got the monthly review. That's right. The best comics of May 2022 will be discussed Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time here on Pop Culture Philosophers with Greg from Bearded Comic Bro, Nick from Comic Culture, and Manny from Chamorro Cinema. And then Saturday night, Dylan's Horror Show. Join me, join Dylan, join Steph, Missing Link Steph, that's right, and join Verno from the Cerebros as we talk about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. How's everybody doing? Saw Albert in the house. Albert said that the Heat went on a 10-0 run to close out the half. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You know, we're in the third act. That means I might get a chance to watch the end of the game and hopefully those Mexican pizzas. And yes, Verdez, to answer your question, and I like the old paper as well. I am talking about Taco Bell Mexican pizzas, but I love Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell Mexican pizzas. They are back, and I've had my share already. I'm very excited. Got me off my whole nutrition routine for a week. I'll be honest with y'all. Threw me off. But we're back on now. After tonight, obviously. So what's up, Albert? Thank you for joining in. Bobby says, Hulk versus Hulk, George Perez, Maestro. Oh, yeah. Maestro is the same character, but he's like, you could view him as an alternate future version of the Hulk or the future version of the Hulk. Dan says, got a Rockin Robbie. I'm a newish viewer and here for the first live stream. Well, thank you for popping in, everybody. Give Dan a big station. Thanks for being here, Dan. Just want to say I really like your vids, especially your new Comic Book Day episodes. I picked up Spectro because of you. Here's the question, Dan. Did you like it? Did you like it? Hey, Bob, somebody was wanting to know ahead of time what movie we were covering. I see Bob's here from Everything Comic Station. Bob, what's the movie that we're doing next week? It's Shaolin something. What is it? They want to know so they can watch it ahead of time. Tonight we talked about Dark Star, the first John Carpenter film. We're going to do John Carpenter movie one week. Next movie, Sifu Bullseye Bob's recommendation on a Hong Kong flick. We did Riccio last week. I sent that off already to Brooks. I cannot wait to hear what he thought about it. Big Herm says, I love the Mexican pizzas. I enjoyed some on Friday. Hell yeah. And thank you, Dan, for joining for your first live stream, man. We have a lot of fun here on Sunday nights, Rockin Robbie Live. This was a typical Rockin Robbie Live. We do the typical bits. If you're not familiar, what we do is we come in, we just bullshit, we talk about things, whatever you want, right? I love being distracted in the show. Sometimes somebody will ask me a question. It goes off into a 20-minute tangent and conversation, and I fucking love it. We always talk about our favorite comic books. Last week, I elaborate on the pick of the week. We look ahead at what's coming up in shops. I always do the DC sneak peek because I read those early. I always do a movie review, one or two, and we do a bit, usually Marvel in the 80s or Marvel in the 90s, Image in the 90s, DC in the 80s. Basically, I just pick an issue or a storyline, and I show you the images, and I talk about it. We always do a top 5. We're about to do that, and we got a new bit that's starting tonight, so I'm very excited. Oh, Dan likes Spectro. Hell yeah. Spectro was rad, my dude. I fucking loved it, man. God, I loved it. I loved it. Fable says, still waiting on my Spectro. Shaolin versus Llama. that's the movie for next week's Rockin' Robbie Live. Yeah, I don't know. I always felt like I wanted to surprise people, like what movie we're doing. I shouldn't even do that. I should always let y'all know. I usually do sometimes, but couldn't remember that. Shaolin versus Llama, which Bob says is one of his favorite kung fu films. So there you go. And then the week after that, after Dark Star, is Assault on Precinct 13. And yeah, we'll be doing his made-for-TV movies too. Are we addressing Uncle Fester today? Gore, yeah, I'll address it again. I did a whole show about it on Friday, but I will say this. I don't mind. I think Christian Bale's a good actor. I think he's going to pull off the essence of the character. I don't mind that he doesn't have a nose, that he's wearing a white cloak, or that he doesn't have tentacles. I don't mind it. Bob says it's in my top 5 of all time. Bob, I'm glad you're here because I think you'll be proud of a couple movies mentioned in tonight's top 5. We're about to break into a top 5. Been going through the years in these movies. We did the 70s. We did the 80s. We did the 90s. Now we're doing the oddies, the 2000s. Top 5 movies of 2004, y'all. Think about it. Think about it. And Bob, last week, my favorite movie of 2003 was Hero. I hope I'm doing you proud, my man. Atomic Buzzer says bring back the Teen Dog Shades. There are plans to bring back the Teen Dog Shades. Don't worry, brother. We got you. Now it's time to talk about our top 5 movies, though, of 2004. First up, the honorable mentions. Honorable mentions go to Crash, which won Best Picture that year, Spider-Man 2, The Incredibles, which is still to date the best Fantastic Four movie we've ever gotten, a Michael Mann masterpiece starring Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise, Collateral, Kung Fu Hustle, which I watched for the first time because of Bob's suggestion, loved that film, and Hellboy. So, out of all the movies in 2004, there's some good ones, and I think a lot of these movies are kind of around the same range of enjoyment for me. So this was a difficult top 5, but honorable mentions: Crash, Spider-Man 2, Incredibles, Collateral, Kung Fu Hustle, Hellboy. At number 5, I've got Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I love the George Romero Dawn of the Dead. I love the Argento cut even better. And when I found out that some newbie fucking filmmaker was going to be remaking Dawn of the Dead, I thought it would be fucking bullshit. And I love this movie. I think it's really good. Zack Snyder comes out the gate swinging, remaking Romero's movie, honoring it, and doing his own kind of interpretation of it. At number 4, I've got The Life Aquatic. I love this film. I love Wes Anderson. And this is one that I haven't revisited quite as much as, say, Rushmore or The Big Lebowski. Not The Big Lebowski, that's Coen Brothers. I'm thinking of Royal Tenenbaums. Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, even Bottle Rocket or Darjeeling Limited, I've gotten into more than this one, but this movie has that quirky sense. It is stylistically beautiful, and it's got an amazing soundtrack that is all David Bowie covers in Portuguese. So there you go. At number 3, House of Flying Daggers. This is one of the best romances I have ever seen on film. I watched this because of Bullseye Bob's recommendation, and it turns out to be one of my favorite movies of 2004. You have an amazing cast of actors and characters in this movie. Amazing production design, beautiful visuals in this film. It is gorgeous. And fuck Romeo and Juliet. This is the best tragic romance love story I've ever seen on film. Everything about it works so much. What episode did we talk about this? I don't remember, but I wish I knew. I wish I would clip these out and put them up on the channel so I could revisit them. But I loved this movie. At number 2, Saw. Y'all, come on. James Wan, redefining horror for a new generation. Post 2001, what's the response? I always feel like there are these renaissances in horror movies around times of social change and social big events. Whether we're talking about the Vietnam War, we're talking about radiation, the dropping of the nuclear bomb, we're talking about the Great Depression, we're talking about 9/11. We were getting this, what some people call torture porn, coming out of it. Saw, regardless of what you think about the franchise as a whole, and it did degrade, Just like everything does, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, they all have sequels we love, dumb ones that we love, but the originals are always like usually way better. That's the case with Saw. This was game-changing for the moment, a really interesting mystery, really great utilization of familiar actors in unfamiliar roles like Cary Elwes, and a great twist at the end. And at number 1 is Kill Bill Volume 2. Kill Bill number 1 made my number 1 on 2003. Number 2 makes my number 1 because I actually like Kill Bill Volume 2 better than Volume 1. But they are one whole movie that I absolutely love and even appreciate more now through this Kung Fu cinema journey guided by Sifu Bullseye Bob. I love this movie. This has the heart of the Kill Bill franchise. So to recap, honorable mentions: Crash, Spider-Man 2, The Incredibles, Collateral, Kung Fu Hustle, Hellboy. At number 5, Dawn of the Dead. At number 4, The Life Aquatic. At number 3, House of Flying Daggers. At number 2, Saw. And at number 1, Kill Bill Volume 2. Those are mine. I want to know, what are your top 5 movies of 2004? So let's take a look at the chat. Bayman says, excited for the picks of the month. Me too. Very excited for that. Long live Michael Mann. Hell yeah. Al says, love The Incredibles. Bob says, I'm way proud, bro. My only goal was to round out the knowledge of a pop culture guru in an area that is important to my heart. I have loved your journey and to see how much it has infused you. You mean influenced? Or infused into me. Hell yeah, either one works. Bob also says, wow, Kung Fu Hustle and House of Flying Daggers. Love it, homie. Chacos26 says, Starsky and Hutch with Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller with Snoop Dogg. Eric says, Friday Night Lights, Eternal Sunshine, Hellboy, Spidey 2, and Kill Bill 2. The artist formerly known as Jesse Say What says, good pick. Al says, great list. Eric says, would have been nice to have a Blade trilogy if that damn third movie could have just been made. Yeah, I know, right? Nick says, that year had some killer movies. Mike says, number 1, Spider-Man 2. Number 2, Team America World Police. Number 3, The Incredibles. Number 4, National Treasure. Number 5, Hellboy. Honorable mentions, Butterfly Effect, Troy, and Kung Fu Hustle. Bayment says, Spider-Man 2 for me. Bob says, Kill Bill Volume 2, The Terminal. That's a good movie. Kung Fu Hustle, Big Fish. Big Fish was the year before. And Monster. Big Fish was on my list last year. Mark says, honorable mentions, Spider-Man 2, Hellboy, Man on Fire, Troy, The Incredibles, and Saw. Yeah, I like Big Fish a lot. I think it's one of my favorite Burton films and one of my favorite Elfman scores. Just verifying, yeah, 2003 film. So we covered that last week. It was initially released December 4th, 2003 at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and then December 10th in the United States. Not that it matters. That's a good movie. I like it a lot. Anybody else got favorite movies of 2004 they want to throw out real quick? Bob says, Spider-Man 2 then. 2004 is a hard year. Yeah, it was. There's a couple that I wrote down that didn't make even honorable mentions, but I just want to, let's do honorable mentions. Prisoner of Azkaban, one of my favorite Harry Potter films. Born Supremacy and Sideways. The wine movie with Thomas Hayden Church and was it Paul Giamatti? I like Eternal Sunshine, but it's too close to home sometimes. Nick says, Man on Fire, Kill Bill 2, Spider-Man 2, Dodgeball, and Eternal Sunshine. Dodgeball is a good one. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Shaun of the Dead. You're right. The Machinist as well. Sideways. Hell yeah. Mark says, Layer Cake number 5, The Machinist, Collateral, Primer 1, and Kill Bill Volume 2 at number 1. Hondalorian says Anchorman. Pretty decent year for film, 2004, isn't it? Pretty decent year. All right, it's time to debut the newest segment, newest bit here on Rockin Robbie Live. Because I've been planning this, and if you've been paying attention, I've never even heard of Primer Rogue Collection. Hero 2004. Hero, I think, is 2002 or something. Yeah, Hero is a 2002 film. I think it was maybe it was released in America later. But it was my number 1 for that year. But I'm looking it up right now. It's a 2002 film. It was initially released in China, October 24th, 2002. It was probably released in America a year or two later. But I went with the initial release date. Trade Paper Dad says, Napoleon Dynamite, Friday Night Lights, White Chicks, Kill Bill and Collateral. Kill Bill and Collateral. Eric says, Shaun of the Dead and Layer Cake were 2004. My list is changing. Yes, they were. In the States, it was 2004. There you go. We'll count it then, whatever. I did it for 2002. It's always weird when I did that. When I was doing the 70s and 80s, I was like, wait, when did Deep Red come out? When did Tenebrae come out? Like, when did these Argento films come out? When did these Italian films come out? Do I count the initial release? Do I count the American release? Who cares? As long as we're talking about good movies, right? All right. It's time for the next new segment here on Rockin Robbie Live. And if you've been paying attention, you know what's coming up. We just recently completed a revisit on X-Men, the animated series, Season 1. Now we're going on to another first season of a classic cartoon. Because, y'all, we're totally talking Turtles tonight. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. That's right, totally talking Turtles tonight. And we're starting with the first episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1987, Turtle Tracks. First season was like 5 episodes. It was like a mini-series. It was written, the first episode, by David Wise, Patty Howarth. Let's get into it. It starts off, April O'Neil is a reporter. This is a change from the comic book. There are a few changes, but changes that worked, apparently. But she's reporting on this crime wave in the city. This gang is just showing up and just causing destruction. There's even a scene with a foot soldier just smashing a Coke machine just to be whatever, right? She's reporting too much on it. Their leader, who we now see as Shredder, but he's not quite shown yet. But he sends the gang after April O'Neil, and in this gang you see Rocksteady and Bebop before they mutate. So they're going after April. April is saved by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She sees them. That's their introduction. She passes out. She wakes up. She sees Splinter. She freaks out again. He brings her sushi. The Turtles eat pizza. I wrote down all the pizzas that they had. So in this bit, they're eating pepperoni and ice cream pizza, jelly beans and mushrooms, and peanut butter and anchovies. So there you go. But after dinner, it's time for story time. So Splinter reveals the origin of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's a little bit different. It starts with Hamato Yoshi. In the comics and in the movie, Hamato Yoshi had a pet rat who became Splinter. But in this one, Hamato Yoshi is Splinter. So he was human, part of the Foot Clan. Oroku Saki, who is going to be Shredder, is jealous of him and his leadership of the Foot Clan. He pins his cloak to the wall so he can't bow to the master. So he basically gets kicked out of the Foot Clan, winds up in New York, living in the sewers, befriending rats, and befriending these 4 turtles. Another difference here in the origin on this first episode of the cartoon is that the turtles fall into the sewers before the mutagen does. But one day, Hamato Yoshi does show up, and there are the turtles covered in this ooze, and it's starting to affect them. He goes and washes them off, but they turn into humanoid turtles, and he turns into a humanoid rat. And that's the origin story. So then, trying to investigate this mystery of this gang that's taking over the city, April O'Neil takes the turtles out in disguise. There's this nice fun bit where she keeps calling them the wrong names and all that kind of shit, and that's cool. They wind up finding out a clue. The clue, they just randomly find a matchbox in the sewer that says Ninja Pizzeria. So they're like, hey, ninjas are attacking. They're talking about ninjas are doing the crime, but the gang we see, they're not ninjas. They're just like punks, right? But they wind up going to Ninja Pizza, the home of the nice slice. They order here 3 whipped cream pizzas and a sashimi pizza. Now, Raphael is eating the sashimi pizza, which is really funny to me because when they were eating their pizzas in the sewer, April was eating sushi, and she goes, how can you eat that nasty pepperoni and ice cream, jelly beans and mushrooms, and peanut butter and anchovies pizza? And Raphael says, how can you eat raw fish? But here he is eating a sashimi pizza. Interesting bit. April leaves. She does her own investigating. She gets abducted, kidnapped by the Foot Clan. The turtles have to find her. Basically, she loses like her press pass and her ID and her purse, and they just follow this trail of missing shit. They find her. They lose her. They fight the Foot Clan, and they don't ever meet Shredder face to face, but they do have a nice, awesome fight with the Foot Clan. They never meet Shredder, but he is watching behind the scenes. It is a weird bit because he is watching them when they're in their sewer home talking to April, and he acts like he doesn't know who they are or how to find them, but he obviously has access to their fucking home. Whatever. He shows up on the screen. They see him on the screen. He sees them. He goes, it's the turtles. Hamato Yoshi is still alive. How does he know about the turtles? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't need to. Basically, he floods the building. They're in this high rise because the Ninja Clan is going out and they're like stealing all this like scientific equipment from these laboratories. They flood this building. The Foot Clan escapes. They mention the Technodrome. As they flood the building, the turtles and April have to go up to the very top, and they wind up escaping. They go back to the sewers and vow that they're going to continue trying to figure out this mystery while they have another pizza, which April gladly joins in on. And the pizza they have at the end here is bananas and sausage. So that is the first episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it's a pretty decent adaptation. It's a little bit different. It's got some nice bits. There's this moment where they go and the turtles are in disguise and April's taking them out and they see this old lady and they're trying to help her. And she pulls out a fucking gun and she's like, get the fuck away from me. So there's some nice bits. When April's interviewing this dude at the very beginning, he's like, oh, they're stealing this, this, and this, a positronic, this, and this. Why? What would you do with all those? He goes, I have no idea. So obviously we're building on to something larger. And what we will build onto is their confrontation with Shredder, their meeting of Krang, all the Dimension X stuff. They really pack it in tight here with the 5 episodes of the first season of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this launched what TMNT became, because it was a great comic book by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. But this launched this animated series, and the toy line launched it. Like, that's the reason why I read it. I mean, why I was into it. I didn't read the Turtle comics until way later. So I'm revisiting them on my complete collection that I have on DVD in the Turtle van. It's a really nice set. All the discs are inside. And that's every single issue of episode of the original run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, I just dropped all of those fuckers on the ground. So, obviously now I gotta take care of that. Anyway, Bob says, this probably won't be on anybody's list, Passion of the Christ. Okay, I get it. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, first episode works really well. I give it 4 ya digs out of 5. They do make some changes. They do some different things. But for the most part, I think it works. And that was our first bit in tonight's new segment. Because from now on Rockin Robbie Live, at least for the next 4 weeks, we're totally talking turtles. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. I've never done that. It's totally spilt all of those discs out of this fucking thing. They're just laying on the goddamn ground right now. However, we're still going to go. Hold on. I got to pause for station identification. I can't let this happen. Sorry. I got to at least gather them up. We'll be right back in just a second. All right, they're all safe. All the discs are safe. By the way, this thing which opens up this way, obviously the way to grab it when you're trying to move it is not this way, because you'll just do that. Never do that, y'all. Jesus. Bob says, do a station identification, take care of that. I did, because I was like really bothered. Really bothered. All right, but now they're safe. They're good. They're all good. It's just going to be like, now I got to like put them back in order and then put them in there. It's fucking obnoxious. But anyway, it is what we do. All right, it's time for show and tell. Where are we at for show and tell? It's all over here. All right, so I've been doing this thing where I've been re-loving my Transformer collection. The Hasbro's been doing some good stuff here lately. And I showed off last week a whole batch that I had transformed back into the alt modes just to kind of like play with them and learn them again. And I got a Shockwave loose a while ago and I'd never transformed it, but I did transform it. So there's the Shockwave transformed. I think this looks great. So he does make the ship. And when I got him, I knew he just made the ship and I was bothered by it. But whatever, it is what it is. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to show you something real cool about this. We take off the little extra bits, even including this bit. I love this shit. Then take off those bits, turn it around, and guess what? It makes the original gun, y'all. How fucking cool is that? I didn't even know it did that. It makes the fucking gun. Actually, I think this goes back here. It makes the original fucking gun. I didn't even know that. That's fucking cool. That's dope. Then you spin it around, you add these extra parts, and it makes that. When you turn him back into Shockwave, he can either look more like the classic Shockwave, or you can add all the extra shit on and give him extra arms and shit. That's dope. I'll be showing that off again because that's awesome. Last week, well, also, okay, another one that I grabbed but I hadn't transformed them back into alt mode was Gigawatt. So I do want to show that. That's the DeLorean from Back to the Future. This is my favorite of their mashups that they've done so far. The Ectotron is dope, but this one really works for me. Now, I haven't opened the Jurassic Park one. I don't have the Top Gun one, and I haven't opened my X-Men one. Last week, we opened up my Astro Train, and I got him in astronaut space shuttle mode. Looks pretty dope. He also turns into a train. I'll do that this week, and we'll show it off again next week. So there you go. That's my Transformer bit for show and tell. Picked up some new Blu-rays. I got Popcorn. Great, low-budget, dumb horror film taking place in movie theater. Got Pieces. This is one that we covered on Dylan's Horror Show. I loved it so much I had to pick up special edition. Then Sin City. I've never had this on Blu-ray, so I've upgraded to the Blu-ray. Very excited to have this has got the recut and the theatrical extended versions and all that shit. And I picked up Dead Man. We just covered this on PCP Movie Night. This movie blew me the fuck away. So I got a Criterion version of it. We were talking about Sin City. They've been re-releasing them finally in bigger versions again in paperback. And they're on volume 4. That Yellow Bastard. That came out this week, so I picked that up. And Cartoonist Kayfabe did a video on this, so this is totally Kayfabe effect. They just launched a video on Splitting Image. Went into the shop. We had issue number 1, and we had the reprint. So this reprint's 1 and 2, plus the Normal Man, Megaton Man crossover. It is recolored, so that's why I picked this one up, so I would have both iterations of the coloring. But I do need a number 2 of the original Splitting Image, and this is Don Simpson doing like a goofy parody version of the Image Founding Fathers, and it cracks me the fuck up. It is hilarious. Like, Todd is God McFarthing. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. So that is your show and tell. Turtle power. Smoke goes. Bob says, truth be told, I never got into the TMNT animated stuff during that era. Back then, it was a little too campy for me, but seeing your mini recap of the first episode, I would be down to revisit it. It's a fun revisit. I think it's on... I know Paramount's got I think they have all the Turtles stuff, but I'm not sure. Why haven't they made a Bill and Ted phone booth Transformer mashup? We deserve that in our lives. That would be amazing. Oh my God. Put the petition out. I'll check it out. All right, now continuing to honor the legacy of Bullseye Bob and Bueller. And Bueller needs help. He's stranded out there, y'all. Send him some money. Send him some love. But continuing to honor their legacy, we're now in the final 5. Final 5. All right, we're going through my Blu-ray collection. We're in the S's. We last left off with my Saw collection. 7 movies of Saw. Next up, I got Jigsaw. This is a J. I get it. I put it there because they did a new version of that Saw box set I don't have that has this in it. I've never seen this. This is the 8th Saw film. They've done 9. This is the 8th one. So I've never seen it, but I keep it there with the rest of my Saw movies. So it's in the same place. Speaking of horror franchises, next up is Scream. Fantastic movie. Then we got Scream 2. Amazing movie. Scream 3. This movie's not so good. And then Scream 4. Hey, that movie's pretty good. Chris Bueller's fine. His bus broke down. He had a fuel tank leak, so he's got to get his bus worked on. So he's stranded outside of Topeka, Kansas right now. During the holiday weekend when most shops are closed. So he's just kind of like on hold for a few days till he can get it fixed, I think. But if anybody wants to help support him, go to his channel, check out his Patreon link or his PayPal link or anything like that and help support him. Well, shit, that's the final 5. That's the show. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We had a great time. Really, we really did. I'm glad that these discs are okay. Got to put them all in order. I think, well, nope. I thought I had them all in order. But that's season 7, season 9. Yep. I got to put those in order. Get them back in that goddamn thing. Hopefully never touch it again. I'm not going to show that off again next week when we do episode 2 of Totally Talking Turtles. Wasn't that a nice little bit, right? Like that little intro? I mean, it's as good as... So the idea is that when we're done with Turtles Season 1, which is just like 5 episodes, we're going to go back to Season 2 of X-Men and alternate between them for a while. See what we do, right? It just gives me an excuse to watch 1 episode a week. And I encourage you to do the same. So next week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Episode 2, as well as Shaolin vs. Llama. So there you go. Oh. 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 All right. Really do appreciate everything from everybody here tonight. Thank you for all the support. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Don't forget the Rockin Robbie Tour is coming to Charlotte, North Carolina. That's like a month away. So seriously, that's going to be fun. If you're going to be at Heroes Con, let me know. We'll meet up. We'll hang out. The monthly comic book review is Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Me, Bearded Comic Bro, Nick Comic Culture, and Tomorrow Cinema, and Dylan's Horror Show. On Saturday night, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Y'all, we love you. Thank you so much. Keep your head up. Remember, wherever you go, there you are. Station, pop, pop, boom!
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't stop, just don't stop. Back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so what? You're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong. You will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate, I attack. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't stop, just don't stop.
Yo, we want to thank Twitch, helping towards the convention fund. Thank you for those super chats. This is the last night that you can get a super chat in to help for the Charlotte, North Carolina Heroes Con. Thank you, Twitch. I appreciate it. Station. We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Why can't you see what you are doing to me? We can't go on together on suspicious minds. We can't build our dreams on suspicious minds. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. Now he fights with the man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. PPRD. Ah! Bum bum. Dun 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 dun. Thank you so much, Twitch, for the super chat. And everybody that did a super chat. Thank you so much from me, Rockin Robbie. All right, we're going to open up this Sound Blaster because I got a few more Transformers that I want to learn. Well, I already know how to transform my Soundwave, but I want to do him again. I'm going to learn my Ultra Magnus, and I want to learn this one. So they just re-released this in the Legacy line, so it's more widely available now. But I'm opening this shit because I love Sound Blaster. My favorite Transformer of all time is Soundwave. My number 2, Sound Blaster. Honorable mention to Sea Spray. One of my bathroom toys when I was a kid was this Sea Spray. I have the G2 shiny version of it too. It turns into like a little speedboat. And I loved that shit when I was a kid. They haven't done one for him in these, but there's like a version somebody else did. So we're just going to open this up. I don't use these anymore. I learn how to transform them on a YouTube channel now that does a show called Just Transform It. And it's great. So there it is in its package. He comes with eject right up there. Sound Blaster is basically the good guy version of Soundwave. He turns into a boombox. But he's a good guy. He's an Autobot. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. There we go. I am not going to fuck with how to transform it or nothing yet. Let's get this eject out. I like this eject because he is like translucent looking. That's really cool and sharp to me. So there's Sound Blaster, y'all. Very classic look, but in a new school kind of mode. So there's a little bit more posability, which I love about these new Hasbro Transformers. They're classic looking. They are... How do you open that? Oh, you got to put... Oh, you got to push that in. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's dope. So they're classic looking, but they have more modernized posability. What fucking way is he supposed to go in? There he goes. Oh, look at that. Eject. Eject. Whatever. Just keep him in there for now. There's my Sound Blaster. My eject button seems fine. Is it not supposed to be like out like that? Maybe it is loose. It works. Anyway, excited to have this. Super dope. Thank you all for being here.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Even when you fucking feel low, you can still go. Rockin' Robbie live, let me tell you, and we still going on strong. Everybody know what is wrong? Hit the song, hit the bomb, whoa.
You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's what I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go,
Chip and Dale, but you don't feel low. You can still go. You can still go. You can still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Eject button loose, but you know you can still go. Yup. What's up? All right, we're doing a little taste test. So this is the last taste test from Mike when he went off across the country, went into Canada, brought me some Canadian snacks. This is Old Dutch yet again. Last week we tried the Old Dutch spicy pickle tortilla chips. They were fucking gross. So this is the Ridgie's. This is like their Ruffles brand. All dressed. So all dressed. I am familiar with this flavor because Ruffles did it, and they said it was a very popular flavor in North America and like the Northern United States and Canada. So it's like a garlic, sour cream, chive, tomato, spice seasoning. It's like a all dressed, just means every flavor that's I don't fucking know, man. I watched this whole video about American potato chips and why it's original barbecue, salt and vinegar, and sour cream and onion. So this looks like it's onion, tomato, seasonings, and garlic. I'm familiar with all dressed chips. I didn't necessarily enjoy it. Let's see what happens. These are from Canada. Smell good. The problem is this is a vinegary. I think this is like barbecue sauce. I think it's the four main potato chip flavors all put together. Sour cream and onion. What is it? Sour cream and onion, barbecue, regular, of course, salt and vinegar. So it says ultimate fusion of flavor and crunch by fusing together double the ridges with the savory flavor of all dressed. We created the ultimate appy snack for your next snack attack. What's an appy snack? At first I almost read that shit as apple. All right, let's do it. It tastes like those Ruffles. So, I think this is confirmed. The four most popular North American potato chip flavors. The main four. The first four, the first five we do, the first four. It is regular ass salt and vinegar, which is based upon the British fish and chips, malt vinegar and shit, right? That's right. Sour cream and onion, which is based on the French onion Lipton mix, and barbecue sauce. So that is barbecue sauce, salted chips with vinegar, sour cream, and onion. It's all of it put together. Very appropriate for Memorial Day. Because a lot of us are going to be having those chips tomorrow. I'm not doing anything like barbecue-wise or anything. I still got to work. You know, books don't stop. So I got to work. And but no EXP or PCP movie night. So I got the evening off. I may make some I may make some hot dogs and have my favorite potato chip flavor, sour cream and onion. That being said, these I'll give a 3.5 because it does have that vinegary acidicness that I don't like in salt and vinegar chips, but it mostly tastes like a barbecue chip with vinegar. It tastes more like a salt and vinegar mixed with a barbecue. Anyway, happy Memorial Day. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate all the love. We love you too. We're out. Yeah, man.